And up next, I wanted to bring you an article that's kind of a follow up from a call in we had on last week's show, where the caller addressed global consciousness or the global unconscious and the idea that all of us are subconsciously connected in some way. And I thought this article was a good example of an application of that possible connectedness. The article's called The Amazing Subconscious Mind, and it's actually from a Filipino website, theinquirer.net. It's by Jamie Lasalso, who has been teaching remote viewing for over 15 years. And I'm kind of skeptical of some of his success rates, and I'll get to that a little bit later in the article. But he writes, most of those who attended my remote viewing.
The autumn is a very bad one. The rain is incessant, and it's very hard to believe I shall see you again. The food is good this week. Last week we ran out of biscuits and ended up with just soup for 4 days. But our spirits are higher this week. I'm not allowed to tell you very much, of course, but there are new companies arriving who are having success against the Germans. What I want to tell you is a strange tale, and I trust you will believe me. I've been sleeping all right, and I'm of sound mind. I feel I must tell someone, in case I do not return to tell the tale. 3 nights ago, I was on night watch duty from midnight to 4 o'clock. The German lines are only perhaps 200 yards from our trench, and with my binoculars, I could see them moving about, their lanterns glowing. All seemed quiet, but at just before 2, a commotion could be heard. A German shouted in pain, and then more voices joined the clamour. My commanding officer woke at the noise and ordered that a flare be sent up. He feared an attack. Under the brilliant phosphorus glare, I saw a sight that I hope I shall never see again. A great, dark figure was moving along the German trench, perhaps 20 feet tall. Whether it was in the shape of man or beast, I cannot say. It had arms, I think, and legs, but how many I cannot say. It seemed to be made of smoke or billows of dark dust, always shifting and twisting like knots of matted hair. My commanding officer swore an oath at the sight and sent up another flare. Now we could see clearly. The boys in the trench with me were dumbfounded. A few could not watch. But I saw it all. This creature, or wraith, or whatever it was, seemed to lift German soldiers from their trench one by one and pick them apart, as if they were spiders in the hands of a schoolboy. The popping sound, the delicate rip of flesh in the otherwise dead, silent night, will live with me forever. Limbs dropped into the mud with a splash. A head would fall under the light of the flare, a shadow rushing to meet it as it fell heavily into the filth. The beast was working methodically left to right, apparently clearing the entire trench, taking the torsos that had dismembered into its maw where they slipped obscenely into the reeds of its darkness. It seemed to shrink and grow from time to time, never still, never one shape, always sliding indecently along the earth, ever moving, never still. But silent. Utterly silent it was. The only sounds the gurgles and screams of the German troops. I almost felt sorry for them. Were we to be next? Suddenly it all stopped. The shapeless thing lurched to the right, out of the light of our flares, and disappeared into the darkness. It was done. All that was left was the commotion of the Germans moving about in their trench, frantic cries and moans drifting across the damp air. We looked at each other, hardly believing what we'd seen. Our commanding officer ordered us to tell no one, and we have done as we've been told. I write this to you in the belief that someone should know what I saw, and in the hope that the regimental censors allow my words to reach England, even if they must remain secret for now. I send you all my love and hope, and pray that you never have to experience the sight I saw this last week. We fear very much that the creature might return. Does it know or care which side of the lines we're on? Does it have even a base intelligence? Is it of this world or another? I miss you all so very much, and although I'm due leave before Christmas, I think perhaps I shall not see you in England again. We hear such tales from the front. In hope, and with my most heartfelt sincerity, Alfred.
Rock and roll.
I gotta say, if I'm Alfred's parents, you go to the mailbox, a mailman delivers you a letter, like, oh, we have a message from our son. I can't wait to read it. Hope everything is going well. And he sends him that. I think you gotta lie to your parents.
Why does it always have to be creepy? You never send a nice
The thing
one.
is,
You gotta lie to your parents. Tell them everything is going great.
the thing is, boys, you see, this letter never got to his parents. You see, it did end up in the hands of the regimental censor, and it ended up in the regimental archives until the end of the war. And then after the armistice was signed in 1918, it was deposited in the Imperial War Museum in London, and it's been under a Section H notice ever since then. That's kind of like the British military X-Files, effectively, and they're not open to anyone, even those of us, not just any researcher, but even to those of us working for the government until 100 years later. So, this is early days. But I have found two other things which just support this very briefly. One is I've got a colleague in Berlin in the German military who's doing something similar with the Reichsarchive in Berlin.
Oh, man, that's got to be fucking complicated and weird.
Well, that's right.
Drawers in there.
All friends in Europe now, of course.
Let's go with this whole drawer is just filled with human teeth.
we even get on quite well with the Poles, actually. But here we go. He found a telegraph communication that the Germans sent, and it reads, do you want to do it in German, or should I just do the translation?
Do the translation, right?
Well, let's hear a little bit in German first, and then give us some translation.
Okay. Donnerstagabend. Ein Monster überkam uns. Es gibt keine Überlebenden. Haben die Briten eine neue Waffe? Schreckliche Zensen spielten sich ab. Nicht einmal Körperteile lassen sich zusammenfinden. Wenig bleibt den Männern. Wir warten.
Kissel, please put your hands down. Please stop
All
doing
right.
this.
All right, Mr. Sergeant Goldenthroat. Now do it in a human language.
Yeah, that translates as follows. This is word for word. It comes across as this. Thursday night, a monster visited us. No survivors. Do the British have some new weapon? Terrible scenes. We cannot even gather the body parts. Little remains of the men. We await the dawn.
Cool.
So that's one thing. So that kind of confirms that there was some serious shit going down.
What a stressful day. What a stressful day when you can't even gather all the body parts.
I know.
There's so many body parts.
And the Nazis were so organized.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. These weren't Nazis. This is 30 years earlier.
They're the three baby Nazis. They're the Muppet Babies version of the Nazis.
Nazis. Baby Nazis.
Baby Nazis. That's well, Hitler was in there somewhere, but still. Anyway, I visited the little museum. Just this last little thing. I visited the museum near where this incident was reported, and it's like a little municipal French museum, and it's got loads of exhibits about the Great War and tanks and the Battle of the Somme and so on. But upstairs, there's a kind of little older history corner, and I found this woodcut sitting in a corner, little picture, very, very bizarre, almost kind of psychedelic swirls in the form of some creature, maybe a man, maybe an animal. It's not clear. The text, I won't do my best late medieval French on you, but it's 16th century, I think. The French translates as follows. It says, "Drawn from life, a horror visited the village this spring. It took the children. We abandon the village today. Pray no one ever returns. The dead are walking here. Only the dead will inhabit this land." And the last bit of this story is that Private Lewis, from whom we heard there, he did indeed never see England again. His service record lists him as missing, presumed dead, on September the 22nd, which I think was only a couple of days after he wrote that letter. And there are no details, but his entire company met the same fate. No military action occurred at that part of the front line that night, and his precise fate remains unknown.
That's interesting. It's almost like a Cadbury egg for this monster creature, but instead of having that really wonderful fake egg, gooey, sugary inside, they just had soup. Apparently, I would hate to kill somebody, gut them, and then next thing you know, 4 days worth of soup. Nothing on the inside you want.
Only soup. I guess they must have run out of biscuits.
That's what he was there for.
I actually, you hear a lot about, paranormal activity happening during war, especially UFO activity, cryptic activity. It's like, obviously this is some sort of maybe collected energy energy that comes out of war.
This wasn't the only paranormal thing to happen during World War I. There was always also the Angel of Mons that appeared during another
Yes, Mons
British...
is where the pubic hair is.
Oh, is that right?
I mean, you're right, though, Marcus. There are a hell of a lot of weird stories about very strange shit going down in World War I. I mean, I've got various others that I'm working on at the moment, but more generally in battle situations, there's a lot of strange things out there.
Awesome. I also want to clarify, Sergeant Goldenthroat said the private heard the Germans shouting in pain. That was them laughing, and he just that's fun. That's how they express joy.
It was just a cultural misunderstanding, wasn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
I think that's very likely. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. 2 for 2. You always bring such great stories. Thank you, Sergeant Goldenthroat.
Well,
Yeah, thank you.
Magustulations, boys.
Magustulations.
Indeed.
We've got another caller. This guy, he's amazing. He came to the live show in London both nights. So thank you so much for coming. His name is Neil, and he's got some incredible stories for you.
He's handsome. He's got a Van Dyke on his face.
Which
straddling his
sounds
face.
bad. I didn't realize that it's a conquistador look.
Yes, it is a conquistador.
Yes. Thanks for being here, Neil.
That's great. Thank you for having me.
So where does your story begin?
Okay, I've got 2 stories which were told to me by my mother. They're quite unusual stories. I mean, she's quite sensitive to things like ghosts, but these are quite out there.
Is she a difficult woman as well? Is she difficult across the board? Or
You want
is
to
she
call his mother a difficult woman?
My mom is sensitive as well, quote unquote,
Yes.
but she's also a very difficult woman.
Neil, is your mother a difficult woman?
I guess, yeah. I mean, she's a Yorkshire woman, so she's quite a...
Difficult, yeah. I dated a Yorkshire woman for quite a while. They're very difficult.
Well, they're wonderful people, and we all love them.
Expert level women.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I totally believe that these things happened to her, although we just can't explain, what they were. But we can't kind of debunk them in any way. But, yeah. So, yeah, basically... she grew up on a farm in Yorkshire in the countryside. And when she was around 7 years old-ish, this was in the 1950s, she was playing outside next to a barn. And she looked up and she saw 2 giant, massive, gnarled, hairy, dirty hands coming over the top of the barn. And the barn's like house height. So massive. And then she saw this face coming up over the barn as well, and that was kind of really grotesque looking. And she looks back at it and she sees like the typical fairy tale troll face. And she sees it coming over the top. She's frozen in fear, and she kind of sees it almost debating whether or not to actually climb up onto the barn. And and then it kind of just kind of backed off and disappeared. And she just basically just ran inside and didn't tell anyone about it because it is pretty far-fetched.
I mean, it could have just been a basketball player.
Possibly.
I mean...
Neil, you're very small. Like, you're a very small man. And your mom is also, I imagine, probably smaller than you.
Oh, yeah, she's smaller than me, so...
It literally could have been Ben.
It could have been me trying to fix your damn barn, and then your mother screamed, called me a troll, and
Where's
left
the
crying.
shitter in this barn?
You got to make one yourself.
Well, Yorkshire, they have a lot of like fairy stories, and it's a very like folklore based area of England, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I looked into it afterwards, and apparently the Yorkshire countryside is quite notorious for trolls, apparently.
And now,
So, but, it's kind of, Yorkshire people in general are quite troll-looking, so I don't know. But we can't sort of kind of debunk it, because it's kind of she said she didn't dream it. I mean, it was a time when, she didn't have a TV, so she couldn't, that couldn't influence her or anything. So
that's why no TVs. All you could do is go outside, look at the barn, hope you see a troll.
Well, it's kind of like Ed Gein when he would look up and seeing the crows and all the bones and trees and shit like that.
Yeah.
He made his own TV.
You got to.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's just such a bizarre story. So
I love
And
that shit.
how old was your mother when she told you this story? You said it happened to her when she was 7. How long did she hold on to this for?
I don't know. I think I was like a teenager. I think it was kind of as I was having some strange experiences, and she talked to other people who had strange experiences, and she kind of brought it up, and it was kind of like she was very like solemn about it, you know, like
Yeah.
really serious. So I totally believe that she saw it. I don't know what
Well, you know,
watching it, so.
my belief system and your belief system is in reality it's thin. Obviously, people have experienced these sorts of activity like all over the world. Every different culture has stories of the hidden people. And so I believe your mom.
Well, man, you build a barn, you're just asking for a troll to come climb on it.
It's like building a fucking baseball stadium, and you're just gonna have a bunch of guys in baseball uniforms.
That's right.
They've got baseball bats.
They're baseball
But
players.
it turns out they're not baseball players. They're just a themed gang.
Oh, I see, like the Warriors. Neil, do you mind us asking, what was some of the experiences that you were going through when your mom, told you the troll story?
I don't know. There was kind of just some slightly spooky ones, but I've had a couple of like glitch in the Matrix type ones
Cool.
as well. So yeah, they're quite.
And so you were a child expressing to your mother that you're going through some paranormal phenomenon, and to calm your nerves, she told you that trolls are real. That's a great way to.
Hey, don't worry, son. It literally only gets worse than this.
Yeah, you had one, but she had one more story, right?
Yeah, this was around the same sort of time. It's this is nuts as well. Her and some friends were playing in a field, and they passed a really kind of crude-looking scarecrow. You know, basically sticks with a hat and a coat on it. And they kind of got away, and they were probably about 40, 50 feet away from it. And they heard something, like her and her friends. I don't know how many friends were there, maybe about 5. And they looked, and the scarecrow started running towards them.
Weird.
And they all saw it, and they all just ran and kind of didn't mention it again. But it was, again, trying to kind of debunk this, and it was like, she said it was literally a stick figure, and how it was running was like on the 2 kind of sticks that were kind of its legs, so it was kind of just sort of tottering towards them, you know, at fast speed. But again, it's utterly bizarre. It's like, I can't really shit. It was just, obviously there's no one around. It was just flat fields.
I wonder if, like, at some point your mom's friends were like, spooky shit only happens when we hang out with you.
Right. Yeah, I feel like this is so sad for the scarecrow and the troll. It seems like they just wanted to have friends.
You always sympathize with the monster.
Because they just want friends. He's a scarecrow. He's hanging out with crows all day. Or no, not even, because he's...
Will you please just give us a hug?
Just give a scarecrow a hug.
Give us a hug.
Shake hands with a troll and hug a scarecrow.
I'm filled with insects.
Well, that's not good.
All right, we got to get on to our next caller. Thank you so much for calling in, man.
Great, thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, dude. Hail Satan.
Good to see you. We'll see you soon, dude. Today's sponsor for Last Podcast on the Left is MeUndies.com. Picture a world where putting on a new pair of underwear isn't just fresh. You're stepping into a better day. Think about this. Underwear is the first thing you put on and the last thing you take off. Why would you settle for anything less than the best feeling underwear on the planet? I gotta admit, they sent me a few pairs a few days ago. I've been wearing them. I've been walking around town. I've been working. I've been hanging out at the house. Yeah, they're amazing. I know this doesn't make any sense, but it feels like my genitals are floating in space, but in the best way possible. And you could just hang out wearing MeUndies. Like, they've actually replaced my pajamas. I just wear the MeUndies. I just hang out at the house. It's like you're naked, but your junk isn't exposed to the elements at all. They're pretty fantastic. Try them on, and if they aren't the most comfortable, best-feeling undies you've ever had, they'll refund you and let you keep the first pair for free. Included in the price is the sweet touch of Modal, a special fabric made with best-in-class raw materials that are scientifically proven to be 3 times softer than cotton. And for a limited time, everyone in the Last Podcast on the Left audience gets 20% off their first order, but you have to go to the special URL, meundies.com/LEFT. With the MeUndies Better Day Guarantee, you have nothing to lose, so don't wait any longer. Go to meundies.com/LEFT right now for 20% off your first order. That's meundies.com/LEFT.
Okay, we got another caller. This guy is Trevor Smith. He worked at Area 51. Henry, how aroused are you?
"Quote unquote Trevor Smith."
Uh-oh.
I am incredibly interested. Of course, I know some people that worked for NASA. I was recently bumped into
And
a
what is
girl on the
NASA
train.
again?
Never a straight answer. And I bumped into a girl that I used to work with at a night job about like 10 years ago. And she had an aunt that worked at NASA, and she was explaining that the aunt would get drunk and be like, "We've been talking to aliens for 45 years." And I'm just like, if that's the truth, fucking give it to me.
Aliens also might be what she calls her ex-husband, which we don't know. So, Trevor, tell us, when did you start working at Area 51, and what's your experience been like there?
Well, I was first stationed there in early 2010, and I was there providing security for the actual installation itself through the Air Force. And my experience there was pretty weird,
Now, my question
to say
is
the
that,
least.
do they use a special polish to get all the claw marks from the reptilians off the tiles? Like, is that like a thing that you have to? Was that your job, or?
No, I kind of just walked around and made sure that no one was taking anything out of the installation they weren't supposed to. Nobody had their cell phones out. No one was taking any pictures, any recordings, anything like that. Just making sure everyone was staying on task.
Okay. Now, my question is, when you say the installation, is that a specific part of Area 51, or is that just like literally like the main underground level, or like what?
Area 51 is the entire, obviously, area, but the installation is the installation that is located underneath Groom Lake.
Okay.
So when you refer to the installation on Area 51, that's the installation that's responsible for the development of new technologies. They call it the installation. It's right underneath Groom Lake.
Oh, cool. I'm really glad they don't call it like Wonka's Factory. They always have, you said Paradise Ranch. There's like so many different names where it's like, Silly Town, USA, where it's where we may have all these new penis extenders. And it's very top secret.
The installation is horrifying, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, they've got some nomenclature name for it, but they just call it the installation.
Cool.
And this was in response to you guys in the last episode talking about people who served in the military and saw kind of a lot of bizarre things. And I got to witness the development of a lot of new equipment and weapon systems that are probably going to be coming into production, I guess, in like the next 20 years. I would say anything that you guys can see on the outside, online, on TV is an early prototype or a proof of concept, and that it's probably been in development for at least a decade. Mm-hmm. So one of the coolest things that I saw when I was there was called the Beowulf armor, which is basically like, I would liken it to like an exoskeleton or a large suit that a pilot would get into. And it's about 10 feet tall. And of course, I'm not an engineer, so I don't really know how any of this stuff works.
Cool.
But it's about 10 feet tall. And the pilot gets on a little step ladder. The front chest piece kind of opens up. The pilot steps in it, turns around, steps in it. The chest piece closes down and kind of screw the helmet on. So the helmet, like, you can't move your neck or anything like that. He's got like a 360-degree camera in there.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's strong as fuck. Yeah, you can. I mean, they had like those heavy punching bags that are like 100 pounds, 150 pounds. They would have a bunch of those lined up, and the pilot in the Beowulf would just go up to him and just grab him and like rip him in half.
That's awesome.
So awesome.
Yeah, to test his grip strength.
Fuck yes.
And it can lift cars. I saw one incident where the pilot was lifting a car. He got down kind of on one knee, put one arm underneath the car, and put the other arm kind of on the side of the passenger door, and stood up and lifted the entire car. And it was like an Isuzu Rodeo or some little SUV. Lifted it up, and then he kind of went to put the other arm underneath the car and lifted over his head, and he kind of dropped it. So they ended the experiment right there.
Yes.
But yeah, it's capable of lifting a car well above its head. I know for a fact because I was out at the range when they were testing the armor that I guess covers the Beowulf. and they were shooting at it with 50 cals. It can take like direct fire from a 50 cal indefinitely. I mean, it wasn't getting through it at all.
If I could get one of these suits, I would never have to fuck ever again. I would just walk around in the suit all day long feeling just confident and fulfilled.
Oh, it's pretty rad. But I should say there's levels to the installation. From what I know, there's about 15 levels. So I was cleared to go down to level 5. And when I was there, the highest rank I achieved was 02, or first lieutenant. And if you want to go down below those levels, you need special clearance. Or if you're actually commissioned or enlisted in the military, you need to be at least on the officer side of things, an 03 or above, a captain or above.
No, there's a lot there are a lot of private guys in there too, like a lot of like Blackwater kind of guys walking around too, the contractors in there.
Yeah, but that's a cover for just government agencies. I mean, the people who get flown in from the airport, the kind of outer perimeter, the guards, the dudes who roll around in the white SUVs, you'll see them if you drive up close to Area 51.
Yeah, the guys that stop you from taking pictures. The guys that like show up in YouTube videos.
The fat kind of scrubs. I mean, they're just contractors, but they're part of a government agency, the DOD. I'm not exactly sure which one, but they'll call them contractors. Right. But so I was only cleared for up to level 5. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on there that I really have no idea about.
No. Well, it's interesting because I know the private company out of Boston Dynamics, they've been creating a lot of these works and a lot of the robotics in the private sector. Is there any idea or any information that they gave you regarding when they're actually going to start putting these to use, when they're actually going to start having these war machines come out and fight?
No, absolutely not. The only thing I could tell you, like I said, I was basically a glorified internal security guard. So, I mean, I don't know how long a lot of this has been in development. I know that I asked, and the Beowulf has been kind of in the developmental phase for like 20 years or something. And I can give you a point of reference. Those helicopters they used in the Bin Laden raid, those have been in development or in use for like the past 40 years. I mean, they're nothing new at all. Right. We've had the technology for that for a long time. And even when they did the raid, it was still highly classified, but the thing had been around for a long time. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you can go online and look and see where they're, developing these kind of exoskeletons, and they're kind of small. I would guess it's just like a proof of concept, and they're, able to show the public. But the thing I saw was much further along. And one thing I wrote about, which was pretty badass, or at least I thought it was cool, was they have kind of like this crowd control device, which is basically like a huge baton that the Beowulf actually grabs. And I guess it's electrified or uses plasma. I couldn't exactly tell. But this thing can just wreck shop. I mean, they turn it on and kind of use it like a bat or, just a beating stick, and it can just destroy cars. It can go through concrete walls. It can go through steel. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you would use. I was thinking that you could probably, use it to stop a car from advancing or something like that. So maybe you'd get out there, a guy with this thing, and just, if a car was driving at an embassy or something, you just whack it with the stick.
I just love that people in Arkansas think that they can take their rifles and fight the government if they have to.
No way. And I'll tell you this, guys, there's a lot of levels of security to actually getting into Area 51, let alone the installation. So those guys that get on the border, they're still like, I don't know, a mile or 2 mile, I'd estimate, from actually breaching the real installation.
Right. No, we've heard rumors about Area 51. Of course, the big question is going to be: are there flying saucers there? Is the wrecked footage, the wreckage from Roswell? Is it there? My question is like, I feel like, of course, it's not there because they're going to hide it in plain sight. Like literally, it's going to be like sitting out front. It's like the statue in front of the Roswell UFO Museum is literally the saucer that they found, and they're like, we could just keep it outside, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I saw some pretty interesting aircraft that were in development, but one thing I could say that you guys have touched on a lot recently is how much the government loves disinformation.
Yeah.
They have entire sectors of Area 51 that are dedicated to just going out there and spreading disinformation.
When you say disinformation, in what forms? Are they coming out and they're saying that aliens exist? Do you feel like this whole alien thing is just a smokescreen for what the military is actually developing themselves?
Exactly. They'd rather you think that there's aliens running around in UFOs than for you to actually, hone in on any type of aircraft that they're developing. So the kookier things get, the less likely the general public is to actually believe it. Right. And that's good for them because they don't want you really focusing in. If the public thinks Area 51 is just some Air Force, base, then all the better.
Now, my question is,
so-
one more question for me is, what is the weirdest story that you had heard while you were working there? Did anybody talk, or was it like, I imagine the people that are hired to work at Area 51 are genuinely closed mouth people. It's kind of the idea, right? Is that you have people that don't gossip.
Oh, absolutely. Just by their nature, they recruit people that know how to keep their mouth shut. I mean, if you don't, you could get sued. You could get life in prison. Right. You could disappear. The weirdest thing I know of is that there are people that breach the kind of outer perimeters of Area 51 and get by those, general contractor security guards, and those people just disappear.
Yeah.
I don't know where they go. I was there during the apprehension of a few people that got a little too close to the installation. You take them into custody. You go down to level 5. You drop them off, and they're handed off to a kind of a superior officer, and that's the last that I hear or see of them.
Are there any rumors that go around, like what happens to these people? I mean, it seems truly horrific. Lord knows they're not in a great situation.
Yeah, I've heard anything from, the basic, they're just forced to sign a contract that says if they say anything, it's life in prison, probably locked up somewhere, Fort Knox, to the crazy where they're, killed.
What if they take those guys and they make them fucking pilots and experimenting all the new technology?
Yeah, we heard about, maybe they get experimented on, but we're not sure. But I would say there was a couple other things I got to see when I was there that I wrote you guys about. One of which I thought was cool is that the president's limos get outfitted with all sorts of things at Area 51. And one of the things I saw and I got to see as they were testing it, which I thought was pretty righteous but also really creepy, is this sort of, I guess, crowd control device that if too many people were to approach the president's limo or if it was under threat, it kind of disperses this gas, which from my understanding was halon, which displaces the oxygen in the area or something like that. Whoa. And so basically anyone in the immediate vicinity of the president's limo, and the president's limo is sealed, so he's safe in there, it would disperse this gas and just kill everyone around the limo.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
That's like Kissel after he's drinking all night.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy. I thought it was interesting, and then I thought it was deeply disturbing because it made me realize, like, if there's a crowd of people around and then there's one hostile. I mean, if they hit this gas, they're just going to kill everyone.
Well, sticking with it being creepy and disturbing, I just want to, do you have any insight on when do you think this technology is actually going to come? Again, like I said previously, but now with all the riots happening, the police state is stronger than ever before. Was there any indication of when the military would feel comfortable releasing this kind of technology?
From my understanding, the only time they ever release any technology is when they absolutely have to. So due to a leak or the deployment of some of this technology, it was caught on video, or in the case of the Bin Laden raid where they actually, had to leave one of the helicopters and destroy it, but part of it was left intact. A situation like that, then they'll keep this stuff under wraps for as long as they possibly can. And one thing I got to see, which to me answered a lot of my questions about the possibility of UFOs, is an aircraft in development called the Phineas. And the Phineas, I don't know why it's called the Phineas, is basically a long cylindrical tube. And I was about 100 yards from this. I was on the airstrip providing direct observation security as they were running this test. I guess I'd liken it to like a torpedo where one pilot kind of lays down in it. And it doesn't take off long ways like a jet or anything. The Phineas can basically, the pilot gets in it and it immediately just jumps up into the air from where it was. It kind of sits back, shoots directly up into the air. It can go in any direction. It can stop on a dime. It can go up. It can go down. I have no idea how the propulsion system works for anything like that. But it was probably the most radical thing I had ever seen. I mean, it can go low to the ground. It can go straight up. It can
ISIS
spin.
has got to be scared.
I hope it seems like they should be, yeah.
Scared.
Yeah.
Speaking of being
one thing I wanted to touch on was I did have a disturbing, I guess, encounter while I was still with OSSI. And this was actually in 2013. See, I was stationed at Area 51 from 2010 to 2012. And so after that, I continued to work for OSSI until later I exited the military. And I went on an intelligence gathering operation that was actually took place in the country. It was close to the Great Basin National Parks in Nevada. And while I was supposed to collect human intelligence, which is actually visually observe and record a group of people who are of specific interest to the government. So they may or may not be, hostile to the United States, possibly a terrorist cell. We weren't really sure. We weren't given a ton of information. So I went out there in a small team of 4 guys. And it was about, I'd have to say, maybe 03. So it was probably about 3 a.m. when we went out there. We hiked into the South Snake Mountains and eventually got to the grid location where these individuals were supposed to be. And out there, kind of on a field, were these 2 sheds, which you'd find at like a Home Depot or something. You know those quick to set up sheds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was 2 of them kind of connected to each other, like someone had cut the back off of one and made kind of like a little corridor going to the other one, and there was some tarps surrounding that. And we were able to see a few individuals going in and out of there. And we were maybe, I don't know, 200 meters away. And we recorded this, and we decided to move a little closer. And I was separated from 2 of the individuals in my group. So we moved about 50 to 60 meters closer so we could get a better view of things. And this was just my experience. I'm not telling anyone what happened. I'm just saying what I saw and what I experienced. As we were recording them, there was a kind of a high-frequency tone emitted, like a really loud, dog whistle. And there was a big flash of kind of white light, like someone threw a flashbang or something inside the sheds. We could see that, and it killed all our electronics. It even scrambled our NVGs, our night vision goggles. They got kind of fried. They weren't working right. Our radios stopped working. We weren't in communication with the other 2 individuals that were kind of located on the other side of where we were. Everything was fried, all our electronics. And this took about, I guess it would be about 2 minutes till things started coming back online, like our radio actually came back online and everything. And we could see no movement down there from that point on. It didn't look like anyone was in the shed any longer. So we couldn't stand it, and my superior made the call to actually go down there and see what occurred. So we went down there. We were able to physically link up with the 2 other members of our group, and we all confirmed that we experienced the same thing, a loud, high-frequency kind of almost dog whistle and a kind of blinding white light. We entered the structure. It was on a kind of cheap concrete foundation, which is important because in the first shed, there was a bunch of maps of U.S. cities set up, and then there were some other cities on there, Paris, Rome, Cairo, Tokyo, along with a bunch of grid coordinates and a bunch of tarps, and then there was a couple tables. Nothing else in the first shed. We walked through the little corridor into the second shed, and there was 4 steel chairs that were kind of drilled, fastened to the concrete foundation through the shed that had chains fixed to each of the chairs, I guess where they would, keep someone chained up. I'm not really sure. And there was an entire case full of DVD covers where you would keep DVDs. We found no recording equipment of any kind, but there was a bunch of DVD covers. I guess they made a DVD. They would, put it in one of the covers and log it and date it. I don't know. A lot of the cases had dates on them. But the more bizarre thing is that no one was there.
Wow. So you basically watched people just disappear out of this shed.
Right. And I wish there was some more interesting things in the shed. I don't know if they took stuff with them. I'm not. Yeah. All I can say is 100% certainty, all 4 of us, and we're professional individuals. We had like a combined total of 30 years military experience. And these were all straight guys. We all experienced the exact same phenomenon. We know for a fact that there were individuals at this location. We saw them go in and out, regular humanoid-looking people. all of our stuff was fried. We were recording it. That was fried. There was nothing on the recording device after that point. We all saw the same bright white light and the high frequency emission. Everyone was gone. And we don't know exactly what happened later. During our debriefing with our superiors, we were basically told to forget about the entire thing.
Great. And you're like, oh, definitely.
Yeah, not a problem there.
Yeah,
Certainly not
no,
gonna
I
think
mean,
about that.
that led to me, exiting the military after a while. It was deeply disturbing. I'm positive of what I saw. It scared the shit out of me. I'm convinced there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Exactly.
And,
It's like, I'd rather just I'll just discover the joy of making pizza.
What?
Or, maybe I'll get into painting watercolors of pelicans and stuff like that.
Trevor, I just got to ask, just lastly, what is, after your experience with the military, what frightens you the most right now? What keeps you awake at night? Is it terrorism? Is it the idea of a UFO? Or is it just what the U.S. government is currently doing in their black ops programs?
It's a shadow government. I'm convinced there's a shadow government.
Yeah.
I think
what does that mean? What does that mean to you? What do you, when you say shadow government? What is the? Can you let us visualize it a little bit in your perspective?
Well, it's difficult for me to articulate it to you. All I can say is that as I moved through my career in the military, and as I got a higher security clearance, and as I was responsible for more things, being at Area 51, you almost felt this sort of resistance or this presence that was operating beside of you. Just people in and out that you had never seen before, levels that you should have access to but you don't, communication with, filing reports for people that you don't know who they are. You have to fill out a report for your superiors, and then you have to fill out a subsequent report that goes you don't know where. People who disappear and are never heard from again, supervisors, Lieutenant Colonel who got into an altercation with someone at Area 51, never heard from him again, never saw him.
Do you think that also, but I think that there's both insidious reasons for this and also stuff like they have to build paper trails for the money that they spend, right? So
I think that's probably true, but I mean, there's definitely, I don't believe the President of the United States is the Commander-in-Chief. I don't believe he's in charge of anything. I don't believe Congress is in charge of anything. I don't know that that's a deliberate front. I just think that the buck sort of stops somewhere and is picked up by somebody else who actually gets to make certain calls. I'll give you an example. There's a little town outside of, and I always laugh, we always used to make fun of it, outside of Area 51 called Rachel. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's got a population of about 50. Half those people work for the government.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard that there are towns where outside of Area 51 where it's like everybody who's there works for the government. They're like the people who, like literally work at the commissary at Area 51. They're like cooking the food and janitors and shit. They're all like living right outside of it.
Well, it just goes to show, I work for the Office of Special Investigations for the Air Force. I had a top secret security clearance. I had that strange experience in the South Snake Mountains, and I was told to just never mention it again. So there's something going on that's above the heads of a lot of high-ranking people. I just don't know what it is. But, I'm scared shitless now, if that makes a difference.
Well, yeah.
All right.
You know what? It does.
It does, yeah.
It does.
That's amazing.
Well, I hope that that you do well in whatever harmless business you choose now. Yeah. And if the government's going to kill you, it'll kill us as well.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of rolling around like a vagrant, smoking a lot of Kush and hanging out.
That sounds great.
That's great, Trevor.
That's the way to do it.
Thank you so much for your insights. That was really important stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for your time. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Right.
Thank
Hail
you so much
yourself.
for giving me the boner I currently have. This is really great. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Today's other sponsor for Last Podcast on the Left is ZipRecruiter.com. Are you a small business owner? Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality people in this day and age. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job to all the top job sites, and now you can with ZipRecruiter.com. You know what you can do? You can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 1 million businesses, and right now our listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/LEFT. That's ZipRecruiter.com/LEFT. One more time, try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/LEFT.
You're an Iraq War veteran, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, great.
Are you still there, or are you here? Are you back home?
No, I actually I'm in Albany now.
Oh, nice.
Is it better or worse than Iraq?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
All right, we're back.
Some days it's hard to tell.
It's an honor to have him. Thank you for your service. Tamim, he's a former veteran of the Iraq War, and he's got some incredible tales for us about his experience. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, man. So is this like a funny story, or is this like a bad story?
I guess it's got funny moments.
All right.
But it's yeah. No, so I was deployed to Iraq in 2007, and like August we got over there to Baghdad, and we were in like the southern part of the city, and so my company was tasked with kind of cleaning out this area that was like a den for Al-Qaeda in Iraq guys, which funny enough, the head dude that we were looking for the whole time we were there is Omar al-Baghdadi, who's the head of ISIS now.
Fuck.
Yep, big time guy.
So did he get away on like roller skates, or is it like one of those? Was he dressed as a sexy lady and then he goes through like a mall kind of thing? Is that how they get away from these circumstances, or?
I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, the roller skates with like a burqa, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So you're looking for Baghdadi. That's huge.
Yeah. It was a big kind of mission task for our company, because that area was like their last stronghold in Baghdad during the surge there. Mm-hmm. So we got over there and we took over this building that was a Catholic seminary, or former Catholic seminary. And for years, the U.S. government had been trying to get the Catholic Church to let us use it as an outpost, because it was like really strategically located. It was in a good spot.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let us for like years. They wouldn't let the government use the site until the cardinal got dragged out into the street and got beheaded in front of everybody.
Yeah, that's how you motivate these fucking priests.
Yeah. So shortly after that, they said, "All right, you have our blessing, so you guys can use it." So we got in there, we fortified it. We took like a couple of pretty big attacks, like initially taking over, because there hadn't really been a presence down there at all for like, years at that point.
Yeah, that must have been really hairy.
So when you say you're trying to fortify it, it's obviously still a soft target at this time. What were these attacks like? Were they extremely primitive, or were they very organized?
Oh, they were organized. Like, it kind of blew my mind. The first day we were on the ground there, they called in like a fake vehicle-borne VBIED threat, and they said there was a bus out in sector. We got this tip that there was a bus that was being used as like a massive car bomb, and they were going to drive it into the building that we were taking over. So they sent a platoon from my company out to go check it out, and it turned out it was bogus. They got ambushed while they were out there.
Fuck.
So they ended up making it back to the base without any casualties or anything. And but the bad guys followed them back to the base, and so within probably 30 minutes of them crossing the line back into the perimeter there, we got just lit up by RPGs, PKM machine guns, AK-47 sniper fire, just everything you can imagine. They threw it at us.
Yeah, and what I want to get to the story in a second, but just in that scenario, what's your brain going through at that time? You were just, I assume, having just a normal day, trying to, fortify this base, and next thing you know, you're fighting for your life. How confusing is it?
It was, you know what, honestly, like, my brain just kind of, like, shut off. I don't remember very clear details. I remember almost, like, snapshots of things that happened throughout that whole fight. Because, I mean, it lasted... like 6 hours probably until it finally petered off. Yeah.
So what do they do? Do they just keep going and going until you either kill all of them or they leave? Is it like because they're not going to come and take a fortified U.S. base, right? They can't get in there. You guys got exoskeletons, literally like 10-foot tall exoskeletons.
Right. No, ours were on order. We didn't have them yet.
Yeah.
No, they, you know what, that's the thing that was kind of, I guess I almost want to say like awe-inspiring about that attack, was because it really showed their resolve, because they, they kept coming in waves. They were a lot more organized than we thought. They were using trucks to like pull wounded people out of the fight and bring like reinforcements in. They were bringing ammo into their guys. I mean, they were like really set up, and it wasn't until we got the attack helicopters in to just start like dropping missiles on like every fucking building around us. That sorry for cursing, by the way. I'm sure it's okay though, right?
It's okay. Yeah, just fine.
Yeah. I've been listening long enough that. By the way, side note, Om Shinrikyo was the first like series that I ever heard from you guys, and I'm interested in the adventures of young Sapien. What's he up to these days?
And he's just trying to be a good student, and I imagine he's gotten very large.
I'm sure he has.
Young Sapien.
Well, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, no, I love you guys. You guys put out an awesome show.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
also, Abe Lincoln's Top Hat. Listen to it every week. So.
Thanks so much, man.
That's awesome.
Well, we'd love to have you back. We'll have you on that show too. We'll speak at more length. But okay, so let's go back to Iraq.
Let's get to it.
Okay.
To this horrible story.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're like the story took place. We were probably in country, maybe like 4 months at that point, and things had been kind of just like a steady, just grind. You know what I mean? Like we were getting in fights like every other day, and just kind of making our presence known, killing guys, taking dudes, like bagging them up and sending them to detainee centers and stuff like that. And there was this neighborhood that was to the south of where our outpost was, and it was like the predominantly Christian area of that part of Baghdad. And, when in 2003, when everything just kind of collapsed into absolute anarchy, a lot of the Christians just like got the hell out of there as quickly as they could. But the ones that couldn't really like afford to leave or just got kind of trapped there ended up in like a really bad spot. So there was like mass executions. There was just all kinds of really terrible shit that was happening to these people. And as a result, like their whole little like neighborhood was just totally abandoned. And, there was people that still lived in our sector. There was commerce that went on. Markets were open. People went to work, et cetera, et cetera. But that area was like dead. So we never really patrolled in there just because there was no activity. There was no reason to really. But one night we were out on night patrol, and we got this, just kind of like a Frago mission to just go like check it out and just see if there was any kind of like caches or signs of insurgent movement, whatever. And so, we got in there, we started going kind of house to house, and we were just, breaking down doors and searching places. Most of the houses weren't even locked. The front doors were just hanging open. Shit was just strewn all over the front lawns of these places and in the streets and stuff. But then some of the houses, they looked like, it's almost like that cliche where it's like dinner was still like sitting on the table, you know what I mean, from like years prior.
Crazy.
And so, yeah, it was really eerie. Like, as soon as we got in there, the feeling was just kind of like, man, uncomfortable being in there,
Yeah, well, that's why I could never be in the military. I would have definitely eaten some. I would have had some old naan for sure. It would have been tasty.
Or something. So anyways, yeah, so we go to this, there's this one house in particular that we cleared it, got up to the roof. And I don't know if you guys have seen examples of kind of like what this like Middle Eastern architecture looks like, especially in Iraq, but it's predominantly like concrete boxes really that they make the houses out of. And then they add on just like ad hoc like structures here and there, like little rooms made out of bricks, and so this house had like a brick kind of room that had been constructed on the roof of this house as like an additional, whatever, storage area or something. At least that's what we thought it was initially. And so it had no windows, it had one door, and the door was like this sheet metal kind of thing, right? And it was locked, which was, not a big deal, but it was locked from the inside, which was like kind of strange. And so I just kind of had this feeling like I just wanted to know what the fuck was in there, you know what I mean? Like, and my platoon sergeant even was like, just, let's fucking go. Like, we don't need to know what's in there, but I just felt like I had to see it. And so we had like breaching tools that we would always carry. And I just went to town on this door, and I was just working it. Finally, I got it to pop off its hinges, and it kind of just like fell open, right? And the first thing that I noticed when this door popped open was the smell that came from inside of that room. And it's like, it wasn't like a decay smell. It wasn't like a rotting smell. Because I've seen and smelled fucking dead bodies. I know what that smells like. This smelled like freshly dead people, like a butcher shop kind of, like just lots of like that heavy copper kind of like blood smell. Exactly. And it was pitch black inside. And so we put our nods down, the night vision goggles. We put the goggles down. We went in to start clearing this room. And it was like a hallway that kind of teed off at the end into there was like a T intersection with rooms on either side. And like as soon as you cross the threshold, this just like eerie, just uncomfortable feeling, you know what I mean? Like just kind of, just gross. And the smell, you know, that's like my kind of strongest sense memory of the whole thing. And so anyway, we start clearing it, and we go down one side. On the right side, there was a room that had a metal bed frame, and it had wires that were attached to it that were attached to a car battery that was in the corner. And there was, like, chains on this fucking bed, right? And it was just like, you know, as soon as we saw it, I was like, what the fuck? Oh, shit. Well, they're electrocuting people, obviously, in this place, right?
I thought it was just a strange car.
right.
Yeah, the world's worst time machine.
Yeah. No, it was the first Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we checked the room on the left, and the room on the left had like a concrete floor. It had manacles that were kind of like coming out of that were like attached to the ground, and then there was like chains with manacles on the wall. God. And there was blood everywhere in this room. And
did you find a small box that would appear? I mean, this is absolutely horrific.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And so the blood was just everywhere. And it was the weirdest thing was because this room had obviously been locked. You know what I mean? And the evidence from the neighborhood around it had kind of given us the idea that this had been an unoccupied area. Nobody'd been in there for probably months, if not years, up to that point, right? And this blood was basically like wet almost, still on the ground. So it's like, where the fuck did that come from? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it was just super creepy. It put everybody's hackles up. As soon as we saw that, we were just like, let's get the hell out of here. And so we left, and I remember thinking that the strangest thing that bothers me to this day, the reason I still think about it, is because the door was locked from the inside with a padlock, but there was no way to get out of that room except for the door that was locked from the inside.
Interesting.
Oh my God, that's so creepy.
God help us.
Right?
You know,
So
everybody's got a hobby.
Yeah, maybe the bed frame really was a teleport device to another dimension.
Just that just is so bizarre that you would find something, and so, you know, of course, like here we find something like that, you're gonna call the police, but there you find it and you're just like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Like, let's just leave this alone and never think about it ever again.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to the base and just, like, you know, watch, I don't know.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, put on Adventure Time and just sit and watch it.
So at that point, were you so desensitized to violence at that point, you just sort of took that in and you go back, and then when you finished your tour and you got a little time to reflect on your experience, I mean, how did you feel about what you experienced over there with a little reflection back here in the States?
You know, I'm. It's a kind of a complicated thing to talk about or think about, but
yeah,
you know, like when we were that area that we were in Baghdad, just in a general sense, like we did a lot of good. I firmly believe that. Like we did a lot of good because there was tons of sectarian violence that was going on when we were there. Sunnis were killing Shia like every day, wholesale. Which actually, I have another story, which was kind of not necessarily as eerie, but every day, like for the first couple months that we were there, we would find these decapitated bodies, like on street corners. Like it was a pretty regular occurrence to find these bodies in the morning. And we always wondered, where the hell were the heads? We never found any of the heads, right? And about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months later, we were doing this big clearing mission through this palm forest that was to the south of the city. And we found this mud hut that had, like, no shit, a pyramid, like a pyramidal structure of heads that were stacked up inside this building. And the ones on the bottom were skulls because they decayed already at that point, and the ones on the top were fresh.
Oh, my God.
At some point, one of the guys said, like, be like, hey, Ryan, you stop piling these heads because it's creeping me out. Like, it's gotta make them sort of
put them in the hole with the rest of them.
Well, it's in the hole. Did you tell me I'm just trying to have fun? You said have fun with it, be creative.
Did you find it to be sort of a shrine? Was this something that you think that they went back to on a regular basis and took great pride in?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think they do this shit mostly to? They do this shit to freak people out, though. Isn't that kind of the idea that they do these crazy, horrible-looking things in order to make you feel fear of them?
100%, yeah, 100%. Because I mean, the actual physical beheadings themselves took place in public. You know what I mean? And they would try and get like a crowd of people around them.
Because look how horrible we are. We you can't beat us. We do this kind of shit.
Yeah,
this being like we have 10-foot exoskeletons with gigantic electronic batons. We're coming for you. Literally in 10 years. Sorry, guy.
Speaking of like advanced weaponry and stuff like that too, we had this thing towards the end of my tour. And this is absolutely true. It was a microwave gun that we used for crowd control. And so it was on our vehicles. We got like a test unit of it, and we had it on one of our vehicles. And it was like a big satellite dish looking thing that was on a turret, and it had crosshairs, and you like sat inside and you pointed it at people. And when you turned it on, it microwaved people.
Oh.
So
they get like really hot?
Do they explode?
No, they would just get this really terrible like burning sensation on their skin and like in their bodies, and so nobody was able to stand it for longer than a couple of seconds before they just ran away.
Cool.
Oh my God. Well, what? I can't wait for that to come to the streets of New York.
I know.
It's gonna be here soon.
Well, thank you, man. I'm so glad you're safe and back, dude.
Yeah, dude.
No, thanks for having me on the show, guys. Seriously, I appreciate it. Love you guys' work. Henry, I can't wait for my pretty face to come back.
Dude, October 23rd. I can't fucking wait. It's really good. It's really, really good. But you did good.
Thank you, Tamim. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you've done.
Hail Satan, dude.
Hail Satan.
Woo!
Hail yourself.
Have fun in Albany.
Well, that's impossible.
Go on down to a live show sometime. We'll get you in for free.
Okay. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll see you soon.
All right, so we got Seattle McMuttonberry.
Mattenberry.
I don't think it's a real name.
Fake
Seattle
name.
McMattenberry.
Seattle
on the
Mc-
phone.
You got it right.
Well, he's on the phone with us, and he has a story about an airplane, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Seattle, start us off wherever the hell you want to.
All right, so 2012 summer, I was flying back from Europe. We were doing this European tour with one of my bands, and it was me, my drummer Frank, and his girlfriend on the flight back, and we board the plane, and we're looking for our seats, and there's this man who's sitting next to me who's like, he's got to be like 300 pounds, and he did not look like in good shape, and I had to. The seats were like in the middle of the plane, not like on near the other windows. So I actually had to. I tried to wake him up to get to my seat, and he didn't respond. So I had to like go all the way around and like make these two old ladies get up to get to my seat.
Oh yeah.
But about halfway through the flight, he calls for a flight attendant, and he says, "Hey, I'm having trouble breathing. I'm a diabetic, and I haven't had my medicine."
Oh God! Why would you get on a plane from fucking Europe without your shit?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and
Is this the world's most inconvenient suicide?
So he hadn't taken it in like 24 hours, and so they brought him oxygen. They made an announcement that hey, if anyone on the flight is a doctor or a nurse.
Who's got extra insulin? Which one of you? I see you, thin woman. Do you have extra insulin?
And so they decide to move him to the back of the plane so he can stretch his legs so they don't clot up. And
this is a good move for you, Kissel, in the plane.
I am going to do this. Yes.
Yeah. But so about a half hour later, he comes back to his seat, and he didn't need help or anything. He was walking with his cane. He was fine, and sat down, and I asked him, like, "Hey, you feeling better? Is everything okay?" And he's like, "Yes, my son's a doctor, and he lives in Houston. I'm flying there, I'll be fine." So I put my headphones in, and I'm watching a movie, and about 45 minutes after that, I just feel a cup drop and hit my foot. And I look over at him, and he's hunched over, just foam, white foam coming out of his mouth. Yeah. And so I start freaking out. I'm like standing up in my seat and hitting the flight attendant button, screaming for help. And yeah, and so they some people grabbed him, and flight attendants grabbed him, and there was just no dignity to this man's death. They just rolled him
down the aisle like he's a fucking barrel.
No, exactly. Yeah. They drug him down the aisle and put him in like the snack cubby where they with a curtain. They just drug him into and put him in the snack cubby and just closed the curtain.
I don't want to be insensitive here, but the man was a diabetic. He was morbidly obese. This is the proper burial in the sky snack cubby.
Exactly. That's how they do it.
Die.
This is fine. I have no problem with the way this guy has gone.
Did he shit his pants?
Well, okay, we're gonna get to that. So
okay.
I'm kind of freaking out, and
well, this is the problem too. Is also on a plane. I would say, to be honest, in this scenario, I wouldn't say anything. I would literally go and put a sleep mask on him and be like, "Oh, somebody's taking a nap," just because they are not turning this plane around. I need to get where I'm going.
Sure.
So I'm kind of freaking out, and the flight attendants get my friend, and who is about 20 seats behind me, and they're like, "Hey, is that your friend up there in the red shirt? I think he could just need someone to talk to you. If you could come talk to him." So he sits down, and I told him everything that happened, and he's like, "Oh fuck, dude, that's crazy." And he goes, "Wait a minute, was he sitting in this seat?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, well, if you're cool, I'm gonna go back to mine because this seat's wet."
Oh, yeah, bro. You wanted your friend to come sit in the corpse's seat? And first, how did you get an upgrade out of this? How did you get bumped up to business?
Did you at least get free headphones?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the flight was almost over, but the big twist that I sent this to Marcus before any of this happened, when we were on the flight. People were still boarding. While he was sleeping, sitting next to me, I took a selfie with him.
Oh,
all right, let's see it.
I sent it to Marcus.
Oh, God. Oh, no. You took a selfie with a dead man.
A future dead man.
Oh, he does look like he's having trouble.
All right. So what inspired you to take the selfie with the future corpse?
Trip to Europe, and I just thought it was funny that to end the trip, I was having to sit next to this man who was
huge man
halfway in my seat.
Yeah.
And so while I was sleeping, I just snapped a little selfie.
Wow.
So
I have the last picture with this guy.
No.
So do we know first of all, did you get a free flight?
Nope, I didn't get anything out of it. I just kind of nothing happened.
Did they let him out of the snack cubby
ever, or is he still there?
I don't. So when my drummer and his girlfriend, when they were leaving, walking down the aisle, he peeked in, and to in the curtain to see if he was in there, and his shirt was open, and it was he was all blue, and
oh my God.
Yeah, we had to make an emergency landing.
Did they put him on fucking the baggage claim?
How do you? I don't know what you do with him. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Again. There's got to be a corpse closet in all airports. There has to be. Every airport has to have some sort of protocol because people have to die on planes all the time.
On planes.
Yeah, one of the flight attendants talked to me. He said he'd been doing it for 15 years. He said that was the 6th time that's happened.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm horrified.
Since he'd been a flight attendant, yeah.
I'm going to die on a plane. I know I am.
Well, it just seems very accurate. If you got diabetes, you're done. Wow, well, what a great story. Thank you so much for sharing it.
That is great.
I don't think it was wrong of you to take that selfie. You didn't know he was going to die.
You're being an investigative journalist. Yeah, that's technically you're just in the moment.
That's it.
Man.
Well, thanks for having me on, you guys.
Thank you for saying that horrible story. That's great, man. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. Can I do a little a plug for my band?
Yeah, sure.
I was actually going to ask.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so I'm in this. I'm sure there's a lot of grindcore and death metal fans out there who listen to last podcast.
Geifus, and we're
I'm in a band called Cryptic Void. You can go to crypticvoid.bandcamp to check us out. It's just kind of old school grindcore, death metal influence. We're actually doing a whole European tour next year, sometime in the summer. Still figuring out those dates. And yeah, you guys should check it out.
Hell yeah, dude.
We'll check that out. That sounds great, man.
People will. I will say, if you are on a seat next to Seattle, move because you'll die.
You're gonna die.
You're the cursed one, I think.
Yeah, my bandmates were making jokes like telling me that I have to ride a Greyhound next time we do a tour. I can't. And I'm not allowed to ride. I'm not allowed to be in the van.
Oh, yeah,
anymore.
no one dies of a heroin overdose in the bathroom of a Greyhound.
Oh, no.
Never.
No, it never happens.
Thank you so much, buddy. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Thanks, guys.
Hell yourself, buddy. Thank you. All right, our next caller, his name is Jared. He's got a creepy tale for all of us.
He's not the sandwich-loving pedophile.
No, he's not.
We know that now.
Hate that asshole.
Yeah,
Yes, he
good.
ruined
That's
your
a
name.
good stance. That's a
Yes.
very good stance. So you have a doppelganger, or believe you do?
Yes, I do. At least I think I do. I've never personally seen him, but I've had a lot of family members report that they've seen him from around 2 to 5 years old.
Interesting.
All right, so you're 2 years old. Your parents, obviously, you're not really there mentally yet, but your parents claim that there was another 2-year-old running around the house, huh?
Yeah, basically. See, my parents, we built our house in a suburb up here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, when I was around 2, and then we moved in the house when I was about 3. And since then, they've on and off reported seeing him or hearing him or such.
And how does he show themselves? How does he show himself to your parents?
The first time he was seen, it was actually my dad who, he didn't see him, but he heard him. When I was little, I had a room directly next door to their room. And because the house wasn't completely finished, the bathroom closest to me wasn't done, but theirs was. So every once in a while, being kind of afraid of the house because the house has always been a little creepy to me in a sense, like very oppressive almost, I would run through their room into their bathroom to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was about a weekly, maybe bi-weekly thing. So it wasn't exactly rare, but it wasn't common either. And one night my dad just says that he was laying in bed sleeping just completely fine, and all of a sudden he heard the sound of footsteps running past him. So he woke up and looked toward the light, and there was nothing. He tried to urge my mom awake to possibly check on me, but when they got the bathroom door open, they found no one in there. Lights off. I was dead asleep in my bed.
Interesting.
So your doppelganger had to pee in the middle of the night.
So
Yes.
how are they sure that this wasn't just a ghost and not it was your doppelganger? So they saw you in places
The
where
first
you
time they
shouldn't be.
didn't.
Yes, that was the first time.
Yeah.
So how did it develop?
The second time was maybe about a year later. My mom, I had an early bedtime because I was a little kid, obviously. And since my room was right next door to theirs, my mom would often have to walk past my room to get to bed. And so she would often just look over, just make sure I was asleep, everything was okay. And one night she's walking through the hall into her room, and she turns her head, and just for a brief second, she recognizes that I'm standing right by the bedpost, fully dressed, fully awake, just staring straight at her. She doesn't realize it, of course, so she just looks over to her room, and then freaking out because it's the middle of the night. I shouldn't be awake. I should be in bed. She turns her head. I'm fast asleep, completely in my pajamas, asleep in the bed.
Interesting. I actually feel like that's kind of it's more instead of a ghosty thing, it's more of a glitch in the Matrix type thing. It seems to be she's like creating you. It's probably because they were new parents, right? Did you have brothers and sisters before that? Do you have older?
No, I'm the only child.
So I wonder.
Or not an only child, I'm one younger.
You have one younger. So I feel like,
Yeah.
I imagine, to be honest, well, I don't know anything about raising children, and probably will never know. But I think that what could have happened is that they're literally overwhelmed with having a new child, and literally they're seeing you everywhere. And it's like reality's thin, right? So they're literally putting you in places. Unless there's a common occurrence in your family, has this happened to anybody else?
It's happened to my grandmother, actually. This was probably, I'd say, less than a year later. Often during the weekends, my parents would take me out and just hang with their friends and whatever. Their friends had kids my age. I was out of the house most weekends. But we always left the house doors unlocked, so often my grandparents would come by to check on the house, just make sure everything's okay. one day my grandma is driving past the house, and she looks into the window and just sees me just standing there with the curtains pulled around me. I'm just standing there looking out the window, looking at her. So obviously she's kind of like freaked out, like, why am I home alone? I'm about 4. I shouldn't be left alone at home. And so she parks, walks up to the door, opens it, searches the entire house. I'm gone. She calls my parents. I'm with them about 50 miles away.
Wow. So you're never alone. Did you ever try to speak to your doppelganger?
I've never personally seen it, but I have kind of felt its presence almost. A lot of the time when I was growing up in the house, I would always feel like something was watching me, or I was never alone in a room. And a couple times, like, I've been inside one room, and then I leave for a couple minutes, and I come back, and things are moved around. Or in one particular case, we had a tub full of Legos that was just sitting in the middle of the floor. No way it could, like, have been moved or anything like that. I leave, and I hear the sound of it crashing over onto its side.
All right. And actually, do you know anything about the concept of doppelgangers, Marcus? Have you read any? Like, I know it is a lot of times it's labeled under glitches in the Matrix / ghosts, like weird reality occurrences.
I mean, not real. I mean, really, like doppelgangers and things like that. That's more like old school folklore, type of stuff. Yeah, there isn't. It's not really anything that's in like the current paranormal community that really gets into doppelgangers hardcore.
And there's a great book called The Double. That's about that too. That's very good.
Well, that's great. So, Jared, any other stories you want to share with us?
Not any ones that spring to mind. Like I said, it's just rare occurrences. Around the time that my brother was born, every single sighting of him just disappeared.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just 'cause you're getting older, and I think kids obviously they attract more paranormal activity and they give off more energy because literally their brains are growing, so they're like little fountains of energy.
Could be. Well, either way, if he was anything like you, he was an adorable doppelganger. What a doppelganger he was.
Yes,
His name is Diraj, which is Jared backwards.
And the evil Jared would have been happy to have seen the 2 young boys running around his sex den rather than just the
I
one.
think he's probably the good Jared. I feel like I'm more the evil Jared.
So you're a murderer.
I can't say that.
Thank you.
That's good. Let's not say
smart,
that.
good stance. That's what you do.
Well, thank you so much for calling, Jared. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Hail sweet Satan, buddy.
Hail yourself.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Right. And what last podcast on the left episode would be complete without a word from adamandeve.com. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs plus a free mystery gift. And to top it all off, they'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order. adamandeve.com. Use the code LEFT at checkout. That's LEFT at adamandeve.com. Use LEFT at adamandeve.com.
The next caller is Olivia. Her mother was almost a victim of a very famous serial killer. Is that correct? Olivia is with us.
All right. So, Charles Cullen, he was a nurse who was a serial killer in the area where I grew up, and I live now, and not a lot of people know about him, which is kind of scary in my opinion, because they get that kind of helped cover it up.
Cool.
What he was doing. And my grandfather, when he was really sick, and he was in the Somerset ICU, and the doctor, I believe, gave him about a 20% chance of surviving. So Charles Cullen, who claimed to be an angel of mercy, we believe that he kind of fit like the profile exactly. And long story short, my grandfather, when he was in the step-down unit, so after his recovery, in the same hospital where Charles Cullen was killing, and he put on the TV, and they basically found out right then that Charles Cullen was charged with murdering a whole bunch of people while he was the nurse, and he pointed to the TV and said, that's the man that tried to kill me.
Whoa.
So
how did he stop him from killing him?
Well, I believe my mom was kind of responsible for why my grandfather is still here today, because she got special orders from her doctor to stay over in the ICU overnight, which you're not supposed to do. and she was with him all the time. And Charles Cullen was responsible for kind of spiking all the IV bags. And
That's what I heard. Yeah, because so he
Yeah.
would come in the night while the person was asleep and essentially inject bad shit into the, or like, give the, they were saying like it's overdosing them essentially.
Insulin, mostly.
Yeah, and my grandfather was in there for pancreatitis, and he did kind of have like ups and downs and a lot of really bad episodes in the hospital, which when I read about Charles Cullen, a lot of his other victims, they had that kind of spiking up and down and overdosing on insulin.
So how many years did this guy operate for? I know usually these nurse serial killers, it's extremely difficult for them to be caught. You need such a huge amount. I mean, people go to the hospital to die, so when they leave in a body bag, it's not necessarily such a huge red flag.
It was many years.
Well over 20 years.
Yeah.
About 20. I think he made it 25 years.
So your grandfather was one of the later victims?
Or almost one of the later victims.
Yeah, he was in the hospital. The Somerset Hospital was where he was caught, and he was still in the hospital while he was charged.
It's horrifying. Do you give any credence to this idea that the serial killer himself did think he was doing good?
Yeah, I believe that he liked to play God. He was really religious from what I know, and even when he was in prison, he donated an organ, so he was still kind of playing with like people's difference between life and death.
Well,
Cool.
who wants the organ from prison?
I'd take it.
Take it if you need it.
any organ.
Yeah.
I'd take pig organ.
Well, I guess you wouldn't have to go to nursing school. You learn what the person knows.
I had this
So that'd be
idea the
good.
other night that I was poo-pooed for, which is you get a scientist and you take him hostage and you tie him up in like a garage and you have him build all the shit for you. Like, and he'll be 3D printing all the organs for you, and then you have your own scientist. You don't need to wait for fucking doctors.
Yeah, it sounds like every bad action movie plot of all time. Or what
Make
would you
it
die?
real.
That's Iron Man. You just described the first 30 minutes of Iron Man.
Make it real.
Make it real. Well, that's so fascinating. So how is the family doing? Is everyone recovered from this disgusting, horrifying event? Are you guys scared of going to the hospital now?
I'm not really that scared, but where our local hospital is, the weird thing about it is it's the Hunterdon Medical Center in Flemington, and from doing reading, he was there for 3 years, and he said he didn't kill anybody for the first 2, but he admitted to killing, I believe, at least 5 to 8 there. God. But coincidentally, the Hunterdon Medical Center destroyed all their files while they were investigating if he had killed anybody there, so to me it was kind of suspicious that they didn't want anyone to, in my opinion, know if the nurse had been killing patients there.
They just can't let their credibility be attacked. So that's what they do, is they basically cover it up. It's like when the Secret Service killed JFK.
Yeah, actually, like all of the hospitals he had worked at had the same thing where they would fire him because they knew he was responsible for killing people, and it took the Somerset Center to finally become involved and led to his arrest.
Also, what they do with priests that touch kids.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Olivia. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Have fun in Jersey.
Hail your grandfather, hail yourself, and hail your mother.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Dokey.
The only reason why I'm spending all my time running around between these buildings is because somebody killed a guy from the rice box.
What the hell are you talking about?
You don't tell me that I'm not just a spider man. I'm a spider goddamn hero, spider soldier. That's what I need to change my damn name to. What I need is one of these 10-foot exoskeletons. I'm sick of getting so tired just jumping from building to building. Let the robots do it.
You're Spider-Man already, so you don't need an exoskeleton. The whole point. Anyway, that's fine.
I don't make any money.
Amazing stories. Thank you, everyone who called in. I mean, those military stories were so creepy and so real. The ghost tales were phenomenal.
Trolls.
Wow, phenomenal stuff. Thank you guys so much, Marcus. Great finds. We have amazing listeners. Huh?
We let you do it, and you did it.
Yep,
you know what? You're welcome.
That doesn't make any sense.
You're welcome for us letting you do it, and you did it, and we didn't really do much, but you did it, and we did it together.
Free speech, please. You're back in the clink.
Ding, 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 ding. I didn't say anything rhyming with anything bad.
That's correct. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. Hail yourselves. Keep on checking out all the shows here on CCR that Mr. Parks and I do. We had one listener mention Abel against Top Hat. I think we might actually try to get him back on for a longer interview. God knows what else is in the minds of these unbelievable heroes over there. there. And so thank you for supporting Enabling Us. Top at Roundtable of Gentlemen, The Lucky Bone Show, Sex and Other Human Activities. We have to plug Holden's new show, otherwise he's not going to be around long enough.
Wizard and the Bruiser.
Wizard and the Bruiser, yes. So
no one ever celebrates me. I'm a true hero. Everybody says, "Oh, Spider-Man, taking Spider-Man for goddamn granted." Where's my interview?
You want an interview?
I'll tell you a scary story. One time I was going down to Mary Jean when I lifted up my head. It turned out to be the Lizard Man again.
Okay, so
I was
you
like,
ate up.
I've been blowing a man.
You accidentally. How did
I
you
was just
confuse?
like, I was like, your pussy's getting longer, girl. I said that to her.
It's a
and
lizard
he
penis.
went, because that's the sound a lizard makes when he fucking comes in your mouth.
This seems like a difficult thing to confuse.
I'm the real American superhero.
All right.
Hellgate, one and all.
Hail
Hail
yourselves.
Satan. Happy Halloween. We're building up to it. Fucking don't kill a boy this year.
Don't
ever do that. That's the rule.
This year, just try not to kill a boy.
Ever, ever, ever.
Ever, ever. Make gustulations.
Hail me.
Never, ever.
Never once kill a boy, especially this year.
On Sleepycast.
Jeff, I heard something happened at the office recently. Something about tacos?
Yeah, my fellow Sleepy Cabin members ate my tacos.
That doesn't seem like a very respectful thing to do.
Oh man, they were delicious. I drove Spaz Kid and Shadman to lunch.
Oh my god, you drove them to this restaurant?
Yes.
Tacos?
We went to a Mexican restaurant. We got a large portion. I got 4 tacos.
Okay.
When you bring food home from the restaurant in your little take-home box, you know, the assumption is you're gonna eat them. Oh man, they were delicious. Each taco came with its own little lime slice. I put them in the Newgrounds refrigerator. I'm like, they'll be safe here. I open the refrigerator door, and they're not there. Oh man, they were delicious.
I want answers, Jeff. Who ate the tacos?
There is a world as tangible as our own, impossible to see yet unavoidable to sense. A world enveloped by a seemingly unending ocean of forests. Buried deep in that forest, tucked away neatly within a blanket of twilight, lies a quaint little cabin. And in that cabin
is a bunch of guys who's a bunch of bullshitter.
Corey, would you like to offer your side of the taco?
Yes, I will put a close to the
just
taco discussion.
Just close this out.
Because people want to know the truth. They want to know the truth. They only hear it through Jeff's eyes. And in a real investigation, you don't hear it through the victim's eyes.
Oh wait, let's do it like this. You be Corey's lawyer, and I'll be Jeff's lawyer.
Okay. All right. I'm Corey's lawyer.
Order in the court.
Case of the stolen carne asada tacos.
If you want to know what we're talking about, tune in to the last episode, which was Sleepycast last episode. What was it called? Senior Treachery.
Oh yes.
Agua edition.
Oh yes.
At the very end of it. Anyways, order in the court.
I haven't heard this.
Bang, 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 bang.
My client.
That's the gavel.
Yeah, like
innocent.
Corey's lawyer doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
You're the worst. I hired you.
My client is
and
innocent.
all you do is fuck my wife and barely do anything to protect me.
Look, I'll give you the best damn case you can possibly
You're like,
get.
my defendant is guilty.
Look, I don't know what this is about.
All right, I'll tell you. Here's the.
My client went to a restaurant with you. True or false, Corey?
Oh, it's true.
He ordered tacos. True or false, Corey?
I ordered tacos also.
It's irrelevant, Your Honor. It's irrelevant. He brought his tacos home in a takeout box, put them in the fridge, and you ate them.
Ah, but that's not true.
Your stomach stole his property.
Hold on, I have a recording right here.
True or false?
I have a recording right here of the perpetrator who started the taco eating.
Okay.
Like the taco eating
Let's
shenanigans.
play evidence A.
Okay, hold on.
Man, I'm gonna hit you with some Goodwill Hunting shit after this. Go on.
What a math problem. Order him. Shut up, Niall.
Hold on. Hello, Corey. Do you think Jeff will eat these tacos? I don't know. See?
As a friend, you should have been like, yes.
But
They're
here's the thing, Jeff.
tacos.
Here's the thing, Jeff. There have been times, and I've noticed it might just be a cognitive bias based on where we go, but that you leave Jasmine stuff in the fridge.
Do you know what I leave in You know what I leave in the fridge?
Order in the court. if Jeff left his wallet on the table, would you take money out? Because every now and again he leaves money on the table.
No,
To be
overruled.
fair.
Objection.
To be fair.
he doesn't leave money on the table for people to eat. If it's in the fridge, it could be up for grabs. Did you?
You
have
can't eat money on food though.
They knew it was mine.
Did you have a sticker saying Jeff's do not eat?
Okay, here's what happened.
Is that
That's a
necessary?
universal sign.
Am I working with children? Do I need to do that?
All right, hold on.
What?
Apparently, before we start pointing fingers, here's what really
It's been
happened.
pointed.
Shad came to me. He came to me with sad puppy dog eyes.
Your Honor, I'm going to let him finish his statement if he wants to. I already have
Listen.
my objection in mind.
The fact that you motherfuckers
hold on,
don't have cars or anything
Hold on,
is your
listen.
problem.
Order
the court!
Throw him in jail and throw out the key.
Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
Your Honor. Let's
So,
continue.
anyways.
You tell us what happened. Tell the court what happened, Cora.
Shadman came to me with puppy dog eyes, carrying a bag of tacos, his bottom lip quivering, and he's like, I'm very hungry. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Jeff doesn't always eat his leftovers. It's
There's
cool.
a Wawa about 5 minutes up the street walking distance. That's cool.
Actually,
it's open 24 hours.
It was closed.
It was closed.
Okay.
That doesn't make it okay, though.
Hold on. Anyways, the real victim, the real person, the real perpetrator, the real enemy who started this to begin with was a little alcoholic beverage I like to call 99% proof peach alcohol and a little bit of Blue Moon.
Passing the buck to an inanimate object.
Hold on. My alcoholic side, Corey's alcoholic side is the fucking.
Sorry, I can't help you here, dude. This is that you're digging your own
Do you
grave.
accept or
Well, this is
deny
exactly
you
what happened,
ate
though.
one of the tacos?
I ate one of the half-eaten tacos. Yes.
So you're guilty of eating his tacos.
Oh, that's right. There were two.
Regardless of Shad, you're guilty.
I am.
Look, if Shad started killing somebody and then you came in to start stabbing him, then you're still guilty of murder because you helped commit the crime. You are guilty.
That's not true.
And sentenced to death. That is true. You'll still be guilty of
Whose idea was it?
accessory to taco
Who
eating.
said? Whose idea was this devious scheme? Who said?
Shad's puppy dog eyes and my drunk side.
May I offer before we close out the case? May I offer one other extenuating piece of evidence?
You're overruled.
Let the court show Jeff has pulled his wiener out.
I'm opening case. What? Joshua works here. Had a sandwich in the fridge. What happened to that, Corey? Go.
All right, let me explain myself. I gave the 2-day rule on the sandwich in the fridge. The 2-day rule stands. If somebody hasn't eaten it after 2 days, I assume fair play because it's been in there for 2 days. And most people, let's say something like McDonald's or Burger King, are not going to reheat something that's been in there for a few days.
You will, though.
A day?
You take it
Yes.
upon yourself as
However,
garbage disposal to clean out the fridge.
However, I also thought it was Tom who left it there. For that one time when we went out and Tom said, I might just go to Burger King or something.
So you thought it was okay to eat your boss?
No, hold on. I thought he went to Burger King and left food in there. There was no way Tom would reheat fucking 2-day-old like Burger King.
Look, you are making a lot of assumptions.
So I assumed, I did. I
A lot of leaps of faith.
Your lawyer is turning on you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
It looks like we do got a serial food thief.
This
in
man,
our
Mr.
midst.
Spaz Kid,
You don't even know how to be a lawyer.
is trying to pass
You
himself
like
off.
my $300.
It's a lot.
And you're semen in my
See, the
wife's
fact that you
pussy.
only paid $300 for a lawyer shows you got a shitty lawyer.
Actually, $300 is a steal for a lawyer. And you're
Not
supposed
me.
What kind of fucking lawyer whose job is to protect you says, "Wow, you fucking paid? I'm a worthless lawyer, you idiot. You wasted $300."
Look, I'm not even a lawyer.
Better call.
I did University of Phoenix. I don't know
Guilty. Next topic.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
Guilty, sentenced to death.
This is what happened. Before Shad ate it, and then he was like, "These tacos are awful," and I'm like, "You should probably heat them up." But then I went and I got drunk, and then I came back, and I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna eat the rest of them."
You know why they were awful? Because it was the bitter taste of theft in his mouth.
Motherfuckers.
That's true.
There was guilt.
Shad will eat a sandwich out of the trash can and enjoy it, but there was something wrong about those tacos, and he knew it when he ate it. Because you were doing something illegal.
Yeah,
thievery.
with tacos.
Everything I do, I'm holding my heart right now. Everything I do for you two.
Jeff,
And
you got
betray
your
me.
tacos back. You got your kids. You got your tacos. You got your beautiful wife. What else do you want?
And if I could also say to the jury of sympathetic listeners right now, Jeff has never stolen Corey's food. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Wait, Corey,
Jeff
do you have any
wouldn't want
final
my
words?
food.
Corey, do you have any final words on this topic? Do you want to?
Jeff wouldn't steal my food because he wouldn't want the food I have.
Whoa, dude. That was a Goodwill Hunting.
You mean
like,
I can have a bowl of your kid's cereal sometime if I want it? All right.
You could have a bowl of Kix with a little bit of 1% milk. Not too
It's
much.
like, I
Just
could have-
enough to kind of make the cereal
with a
wet.
side of like random sausages you buy. It's like Kix cereal and sausage.
You could, yes, Jeff. You could have one of my beef brats.
All right.
Only one and a half of one because it's fair. Because I ate half of
Right.
your fucking shad-eating tacos.
Jeff wouldn't want your food because he doesn't eat ass, my friend. New lawyer. No.
I tried.
Fuck off, bad lawyer.
I'm hanging with the what's the guy who hits the hammer?
To leave someone hanging when they high five.
I'm hanging with
one
the
of the
judge.
neatest things you can do. Oh, thanks, Snapper.
My client ate your tacos because you were negligent, Jeff.
Look, you
negligent.
you admitted to guilt. What I said was, I will give you the best case you can possibly get. Look,
You laughed that you're fucking worst lawyer.
I award Corey more tacos and Jeff sentenced to death.
This could be a novel.
By the guillotine.
To kill a Cory bird or something.
To kill a taco.
Also, I heard Jeff
Eat a
whisper
taco.
something racist. So
What?
I don't know.
I was getting there. I better
Listen.
stop.
dude, no.
Enough with the taco shit. Move on.
Yeah.
It's making me hungry.
Welcome to Sleepycast episode 20
Something.
something.
20XX.
This is the self-deprecation episode. I'm Stamper TV, and I have the world's smallest penis.
No, you don't. You have the world's biggest balls to make up for it, though. Come on, like it
Longest
works.
balls?
Oh, I thought you were introducing me. You said I was like the world's smallest penis.
No, you're the second most smallest penis.
You're the second one. You're runner-up. It's still
It's
pretty
still
fucking
good.
bad.
You get the Guinness Book of Records. You get on the
silver
bug.
medal.
You get the silver. It's
Does Guinness have runner-ups or no?
They
don't have
do. They have
runner-ups.
1, 2, and 3. They do.
That would be funny. Like you have. What if you had someone who was doing a record, right? Like he was gonna do, I don't know, like the most like bananas like peeled and eaten, and then like some guy came out and he like
That's what I was
did them
thinking.
first. Like he came
Bananas,
out.
Like somebody eats like 40 hard-boiled eggs in a minute.
It's like sorry, some dude
You
just.
got
beat
like the
down
fattest
road.
man, the
But
man
yeah,
with
but
the
is that
longest ears, the man with the biggest nose, and then the man whose bananas peels and eats.
There's no silver medals in Guinness though, right?
No, I think
I
they have the
think
runners
so.
up in the. Don't they
Do
have?
they?
They have like the picture of the main
Who
guy.
buys the Guinness World Book of World Records? Who buys that book?
I used to get it for
It's
Christmas when I was a
online
kid.
now, right?
Me?
Who buy?
And
there's
doesn't
like,
that data get outdated within the fucking year?
There's like
anyways?
18 volumes. of
They
Guinness
were really
Book of World
entertaining when you were a kid. I
What?
thought. I
I
used to
did
get it.
too.
I used
We
to
didn't
get
finish
it.
introducing ourselves. Corey, go.
This is a way more interesting topic. I'm Corey Spenskin.
I'm Niall. I have bags under my eyes and fat lips.
I'm Jeff now because the new Point Break movie is coming out, so I can't call myself Johnny Utah without looking like a huge asshole.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm Jeff.
Oh shit. Yeah. And who's playing the Keanu Reeves character this
Some
time?
asshole
Oh,
that's
really?
doing a bad
Dude,
Keanu
what's-
impression.
Oh,
You know,
God.
Jeff, I always missed the boat on Johnny Utah. I always
Yeah.
felt like Johnny was a more fitting name for you, but I started calling you Jeff.
Was Johnny?
And then that was the
I was
end of
almost
it.
Henry.
Sorry, was Johnny played by Keanu Reeves?
Wait, who was I?
Yeah.
I was almost Kenneth.
That's weird. To think.
I don't know what's going on. What? You're almost.
No, you know, when you talk to your parents, they're
Yeah.
like, you know,
Oh,
they have
I
that
almost
argument.
called you that. Yeah.
So
Oh,
they almost
man.
named me Kenneth.
I was almost called Killian.
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 That would have worked.
That's not bad. is
Killian's
it?
a pretty cool name.
That's not bad at all.
Oh God.
You would have definitely
you know
been into a life of
Oh
crime.
god,
though.
did I say this?
Yeah,
Have I said
Yo,
this
what's
before?
your last name? Murray?
Murray. Killian Murray.
Killian Murray.
Is Cillian Murphy like a famous actor?
Yeah.
Dark Knight. Oh shit.
That's
Yeah.
like Arnold Schwarzenegger's nemesis in some movie from that was never released from
Have I said this
1983.
before on podcasts? Like
Cillian Murphy.
what my name was originally going to be? I don't know if I've said it.
No.
Chainsaw Dennis.
That was my original Newgrounds name. Actually, my
Chainsaw
original name.
Dennis.
Yeah, my mom heard Chainsaw Dennis, and she's like, I don't know if it slips off the tongue so easily. So she's like, she was gonna call me my dad was gonna call me fucking Mario. That's not even a joke.
Oh, I remember you told me that.
Yeah, he was gonna call me Mario.
Truthfully, though,
First name
I actually think
singular.
Mario would work. You got like a Mario.
I think you would be a good Mario.
Mario
Actually,
Ghetto.
no, it's
You
because
got like a stodgy Italian presence.
yeah, it's
Mario
the
would
dark
work.
facial hair.
My life would be a living hell if I went to school and my fucking name was Mario.
Corey.
No kid I ever
Yeah,
knew
you would- it would.
in life's name was
You
Mario.
exist.
Yeah, they'd be like,
You-
"What are you doing? Are you going to jump down the toilet?" Every time you try to go to the bathroom, it's like, "Are you going to
You
go down?"
exist in an alternate dimension as Mario.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Well, so do
I'm,
you, though,
I'm
Jeff.
officially
I'm Henry.
Mario Rodriguez. That's my.
Not only that, I already-
Your family aren't even like Mexican.
I'll say
We're
that Mario.
Spanish. Why would you be that?
I will say that Mario fits more than Corey. Truthfully.
Yeah, Corey's like a boy band name with blonde hair and bangs that go down either side of their
He's
head.
got like beautiful dick sucking lips. and
yeah.
He's probably gay.
probably.
You know, like Lance from NSYNC.
Mostly, yeah,
Surprise,
exactly.
he's gay.
Exactly.
Can I mention Lance? Doesn't he have crooked eyes?
His eyes do.
Am I the only one that noticed?
No,
that?
you're not.
Which one
No.
I'm sorry, which one's Lance? Stop
Dumb
caring
dude.
about
the only
me.
male that
The
noticed.
blonde one looks like he has Down syndrome. What?
Does he have blonde streaks in his hair?
He
has blonde.
Yeah, they all
blonde
did. They had
I'm
frosted
sorry, this
tips.
is important.
He was
I
like
need
the
to know.
one that was supposed to go into space. I don't know what the fuck.
I
this
swear,
is.
what? He
Yeah.
never blinks. He just
Yeah.
walks around with like big gaping eyes. Just have, like everything is fascinating.
But one eye is like half an inch lower than the other.
What do you mean he
They
did?
call it
What's he
frosted
do
tip.
now?
However, I
Fucking
can't
eye
complain
commercials?
because I literally have misaligned nipples. Like one of my nipples are about half an inch higher than the other nipple.
Why are you standing in the mirror measuring your nipples?
Well,
Nice.
no, someone I never noticed until I was about 17 and I was topless. And my friend goes, "Dude, your nipples like are weird."
Well, technically not. A lot of people have like.
Look, wait, I just want to show you. I know the podcast.
No, it's
can't
very
appreciate
common
this.
to have lopsided
However, but
titties.
look, what they go like.
It's common though, Niall, to have
See that?
It's common. Like
Nice
I probably
nipples.
have lopsided titties. My man.
See, you're a
tits-
dude. You know, every female
No,
on the
I'm
face
fine
of the
with
planet probably has lopsided titties.
Oh, God.
And it bothers them every day.
I'm glad I'm not a female for that.
No
'cause
human being is completely symmetrical. As you notice, I have new glasses, and I look like a fucking idiot right now.
I like your
I
glasses.
like your
though.
glasses.
And I'm gonna go. If you guys want to read some books later,
No, you do look like an intellectual
You look
no.
like an engineer.
like that's another example. Like
or a
these,
literaturist.
these don't have like the rubber pads. They're all like one piece. And I
are
got
thick.
2 pairs of the same thing, and they were the exact same glasses, and one was sitting crooked on my face, and the other one wasn't. I didn't understand it, and he just had to remind me that one ear sits lower than the other ear. One of my eyes sits lower than the other.
How
eye.
much does it bother you guys to ever see like a mirror image of yourself?
Yeah, it
Or
does.
everything just. all
Oh,
of a
where
sudden-
you take a photo of yourself and
Yeah.
then flip it and
All of a sudden,
Photoshop?
like,
Yeah,
all
my
these
nose is
problems.
crooked and
I
shit.
don't like
Yeah.
I don't like the idea that when I look into the mirror, I see like
This is getting so dark and sad.
No. Just the idea.
You see a sad man.
No,
sitting in
just the idea that when you look into a mirror, everything is expanded. So it's like it makes your face, it makes you look bigger, fatter in the face than you normally
it
do.
doesn't. It doesn't, Corey. I hate to bring it to you.
There's that other thing
it
too.
does.
A regular mirror doesn't do that. A perfectly flat mirror would not do that. That would create a perfect opposite image of you. But if you had like some sort of concave or convex mirror,
Niall.
that would
Niall,
do
are
it.
you sure about
You're hurting
that?
his feelings.
I'm 100% sure. I'm sorry to break it to you, Corey.
I thought the whole mirror thing was
No,
true.
a perfectly flat mirror.
I guess
No, Corey.
that was debunked.
Are you saying
I
that
wanna-
if Corey wants to see his ideal self, he needs
Maybe
to
I
look
want
at
to
a
look
funhouse
like
mirror?
he need to use a concave mirror, so he'd be like skinny.
Okay, well then I'm gonna go get a fucking 3D
Oh, to
TV.
lie to himself.
Yeah, but then you'd
Okay.
be lying to yourself.
And then put a mirror inside of it. Oh, can we go back to the world records? Because that's something I wanted to
No, you know what? Back on that thing though, it works with art too. You ever draw a picture and then flip it?
I do that all the time. I stream art a lot, and they always notice. They always go flip the image, Niall. So I flip it,
you
and it's
always-
skewed always to the left.
It's not even
always
your
flip the
art though.
image.
But if I took anybody's image and flipped it, it would look strange. The
See,
other
I thought
way.
it was my
You
brain.
always flip the image. It happens to me. Anytime I draw someone who's straight up, they're always
Why is
tilted.
that though? Is it because like your right brain is harder than your left brain, so you like or works harder?
Perception. Do you know how whenever you see a picture and then like you look at it like there's videos of this all the time on YouTube where they have a picture and then they turn it sideways and you see it's like fucking skewed like 16 feet.
It looks like a fucking Picasso when you like
Yeah.
make an image that makes sense to you and then they flip
That
it
is-
back.
I drew some girl today holding a banana, making a sandcastle for some reason, and
And
she
you flipped it and she looked
I
like
flipped
she had
it.
a
And she
fucking
looked like she
stroke.
was like, yeah, she did. She looked like
She
she
looked
was
like she was building a banana and holding a sandcastle. Yeah.
No, that was when it was flipped the normal way, but then the other way, it looked like some sort of fucking weird
It
fourth
happens all the
dimension
time
shit.
now. I always flip canvas. And
Yeah.
now in Flash, I try to do that whenever I'm working on an actual final piece.
But it really does
You
help.
can't flip canvas and Flash. You're a
You
liar.
actually can.
No, you can't.
Jeff told me.
No, you can't.
What do you
No,
mean?
Jeff
flip?
told me.
I can't flip the whole canvas.
No, you flip a symbol.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. To me, that's a canvas. Like when I have a character and I can turn it into an image.
Oh,
But that's not the definition of a canvas.
No,
but
not the
yeah,
canvas.
I see what you mean.
That's bullshit, though. That should be a fucking implemented feature.
Definitely.
Or rotate the canvas.
Or something.
They should be more
another-
optimized for artists.
Man, this is yeah. Never mind.
What? Dude,
It's like I'm talking about nerdy Flash tips now, and nobody gives a fuck.
Nah,
they
that's
do.
not
A lot of
true.
people
I
are
probably
artists
don't
and
know.
Go, Jeff, go.
Welcome to Jeff's Nerdy Flash Tip
Did you know?
Minute.
You know, when you draw a bunch of lines, right, and you select them, you can then. I used to always think you had to double click them to delete them.
Yeah.
Or use the eraser, use the line eraser tool.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is actually select everything on the frame, whatever, and then go into the
color
line.
and then hit the.
You hit the line that the
Yeah.
little
And then hit the little
Ghostbusters
X
line
one,
through
yeah.
the.
and then gets rid of everything.
Yes,
That's what I used to do with the
Doodle told me about
That's
that.
what I did with the shade. Like when I draw something and I do like a pencil line tool, I do that, and that's how I remove the
I
shade.
had no idea. I was doing it wrong. The
Are you
whole
fucking
time.
serious?
Yeah.
Well, is that what you were talking about?
Just now.
Well, I mean, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I don't.
You know, that kind of happened off and on the entire time I was working at Newgrounds, and then I met Jeff in like 2005, and we were already both using Flash a lot. And then you get so stuck in your own ways, like a year would go by, and then, you know, for some reason Jeff would be standing behind my desk and he'd say, "Why are you doing it that way? You should do it this way." I'd be like, "Oh my fucking god, I didn't even know you could do that."
That's what you told me when you can remove symbols from a fucking library by simply choosing a little button in your library thing that says remove all symbols, or like all unused symbols, and all the symbols that are fucking taking up 90% of the ghost data.
See, that's the thing, it's like...
And then Control F2, where you can select a single color and change it for
And change
everything.
all of them.
I
yeah.
didn't fucking know
Separate.
that.
I didn't know that until way too late either.
No offense, but you don't make that many cartoons. How are you so good at using Flash?
I've made plenty of cartoons. I've
You
been
did.
making them for like fucking 15
Stampers
Yeah,
years.
but you don't do them anymore.
Stampers made like hundreds, just hasn't.
Oh, you just don't release them? Yeah, I do that too. I can't complain. I actually always do that, and I never
Just don't
release
get
them.
'em done.
I'm never happy with the product.
Anyways, I wanted to talk about. I know it was so long in past, but I wanted to talk about world records because I like.
Wait, no, let me finish that up real quick.
Okay.
Alright, so, in summary, I've been using Photoshop and Flash, probably Photoshop since like 2007, no, way earlier than that, and I learned everything I needed to learn, quote unquote, within the first month, and I never learned anything else about that program.
For me,
so fucking talk to your friends. They probably have roundabout ways of fucking doing things
That's
to make
so
your life
true.
easier.
But it's also different too because like I'm
It's
not.
like, why the fuck am I doing this? There's got to be an easier way.
That's the thing.
I'm not willing to learn. Sorry.
No, keep going.
I'm not willing to learn something new, and that's like something where I'm very. Like Jeff is learning, you were learning like the new Flash, and it's funny how you like set everything up how it used to be.
Yeah.
Because I have the same way. I'll have a fucking like mental breakdown if I get a new Flash and my fucking timeline is down. I'll be like, the timeline is supposed to be up here. The fucking symbols are supposed to be here. Why is my color theme down here? It's
Exactly.
just like
I mangled the whole interface to resemble the old interface, which is probably like the inferior interface.
It's not the inferior. It's the one that worked the best. It worked best
It's the
for you.
one that it's the one that your hands and everything are so used to going to that it's just been engraved into your head. And that's the same way for something like pretty much any Flash. Like Macromedia, I used when I first started using Flash. It was Macromedia Flash 8,
and that's still supposed to be one of the best types.
and it was and it was good. And then when I heard CS3 was the exact same, aside from a few tablet issues, I was like, okay. And then I got that. And then I saw CS4 and it lost its fucking mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably set it up how it used to be, but I'm terrified to try it again.
It's amazing how many animators are. It's like we're keeping Flash alive on a version that is like a decade old. Pretty much.
Yeah,
I'm using CS6 when I
people are
do
going to
use
come
it, but
into
I never
and come into here with their fucking what are those things where people like walk in, ride them?
Segways.
Yeah, some asshole Segway guys are gonna come in with their fucking like CS10 Flash, and they're gonna be like, "Wow, primitive," and like fucking like turn the cheek on us. Because
Whatever
we're still
works,
gonna be-
man. Fucking works. Fuck it.
We
Yeah, but
really
they're,
have
like,
all
putting
the tools we
images.
need. I could use
At the
use
same
CS3
time,
for the
there's-
next 50 years if I wanted to.
Agreed. I could use Flash 8, truthfully.
Yeah.
Or you could just get Toon Boom. Like I
Yeah,
do.
but the fucking Segway guys are fucking doing brainwaves, creating Flash
Oh, but
cartoons
now
before
you don't
your
really
very
make
eyes.
cartoons, so why are you using Toon Boom?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry.
You're
I'm sorry for saying that just
frame
now.
animator now.
But back for one of something.
You were-
how
you
many,
were on
how many
your
cartoons
pedestal.
have you made in Toon Boom?
Like 6.
You
Really?
were on your pedestal and you fucking tumbled down.
No, I
dude.
got kicked off the pedestal. Like, I was on top of fucking Mount Sinai, and then Snapper was like, "No, more into
cyanide. Is that
Cyanide.
something that kills things?
Sinai.
something-
Japan. So yeah, ask your friends. Just be like,
But what's back
is
to
there a
what Snapper
faster
said
way
about
to
ask
do
your
this?
friends today? I was asking Chris how to make like something sound like it's in another room, like audio, and he's like, "Oh, you just remove the high and the mid frequencies, and then it somehow automatically sounds like it's in another room." And he's like,
sometimes-
"But if you're doing a telephone call, get rid of the mid and the low frequencies, of,
Yeah,
like
'cause
audio."
it's all treble. Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow!" Like I never knew that. And
Yeah.
like so if you ask your friends, they know.
It's sometimes the other way around. Like I'll be doing something and they'd be like Doodle. He was like, what the fuck was that? Like how he I can't really talk like Doodle. I'm sorry, Doodle. That was the worst.
Sounded like Doodle.
I'm sorry. It was the worst.
What the fuck was that? Let's go to the supermarket and buy the peanut butter.
No, it's more like what would that? What the fuck was that? Like I can't do it. I cannot do a Polish accent.
Should we talk about that alcohol you brought over here?
Oh, the moonshine?
Yeah.
I didn't get
It
any.
makes moonshine.
I had some of
cherry
it.
moonshine.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Moonshine's intimidating.
That shit could strip paint off walls.
It looks.
I liked it. I thought
It's
it was
stronger than any alcohol that's allowed to be sold.
It made
in
my
the country.
Pico Day night
My
a lot
friend-
worse than it could have been.
My good pal, vid game dude.
I felt like I was gonna go blind drinking it. It tasted that strong.
Yeah, ketones.
My good
What?
pal, vid game dude, gave me a big spit jar
Uh-huh.
of moonshine, like one of those old where there's like a boot still inside
There
of
was
it with
moonshine
pickle.
in it.
I guess it was like it looked like orange honey, and I'm like, sweet, thanks for the
Did
fruity
you drink
beverage.
Orange
And
honey.
he's like, that's 200%, and I'm like, I can't even drink 30, dude. Like I'll die. But I guess
proof
somebody
or
drank
percent?
it.
Yeah, that's the difference. That's a huge difference.
It was a lot, I guess. So it's like if you had too much, you might black out.
It was incredibly alcoholic.
Yeah, but someone drank it all before I could even get it. It probably wasn't a good idea to leave it out. But
And what happened to them?
They probably died somewhere in a ditch. Fucking. Anyways, I wanted to talk about the
Oh yeah, so yeah, ask your friends for tips. The end.
Yeah, I
It'll
wanted
make your life a lot fucking easier.
Okay, I know this is way off topic, and I know we've already passed it up, but I like the topic of the idea of world records because it was always fascinating to me.
That's back on topic.
I would always skip the ones that are like, oh, I jumped over a bunch of cars. Like fucking boring. It's like show me the freak shows, dude. Like I'm
Yeah.
looking for the people that haven't fucking like cut their toenails in like 16 years.
Oh, and they're all
60
curling
years.
up.
Yeah, and
They
they're
got-
curling up
Corey,
and shit.
Corey, do you know they got like when they start curling up, they can start getting nerves back, so they
Yeah.
can't cut them, or else they'll like get blood loss.
Man, how's that for a world record? Having the nastiest fucking toenails
Yeah,
ever.
but you ever see those bitches that got like 9-foot nails? And first of all, how do you even measure that? Because at this point they're curling like a spiral noodle.
And wouldn't it hurt if you fucking hit something?
I know, and they have to do like she's like, yeah, I've got a clerical job, and she's trying to.
I'm a
typist.
typist. You got some official Guinness record taker. He comes out with a piece of string and he's wrapping it around these rancid nails.
No, but that's the thing though.
Wishing
Like,
he was dead.
Then
You can get a
then
Guinness
scrape
Book of Records
across the
for-
ground to fucking like get free food so you can like save it for later. Because no one's gonna. If you went up to someone and put your fucking gross like 60-year-old nails on a table and pulled their fucking food off the table, no one's gonna
I
want
have a
it.
question.
Dude, they're fucking huge. There's that one lady that had like their record for a while, and she's like, yeah, every night they're like my babies. I just wrap them in tin foil, and I have to sleep on my side, and it's like it's ruining your life to have this bullshit fucking.
Wait, two questions.
She's in the Guinness
twofold.
Book of Records.
How many of these people do that shit just for the Guinness Book of World Records?
Yeah, exactly. That's
Most
what they
of
do.
them?
That's what they do.
How many? What do you think is it? Where's the line of what is a distasteful record? Like biggest head tumor?
Like
or
someone.
anything?
Best elephantitis show.
Yeah.
Those are two really serious questions. Wait, we'll address the first one
Corey,
first.
that's true though. Someone has the biggest leg.
Do they call Guinness though? Or is
Yeah,
it
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm sure a lot of people try for Guinness records.
Yeah.
Like you probably see like it's like, oh, I just ate 2 omelets in a row. It's like I could fucking do that. So like
Yeah,
you try to do that.
but you get the kids with like the Indian kids with the 8 arms, and they're like, "I'm the kid
But
with the
think
8
of it
arms."
this way. Think of it this
That's
way.
not an accomplishment. That's a birth defect.
I know, but in India they're known as that god. What's the
Think
god
of it
called?
this way,
God,
though.
little god babies.
Yeah, little god babies with fucking
Yeah.
weird limbs coming out of their assholes.
Sorry.
Little Silent Hill creatures.
Think of it this way. Okay, so the guy. Let's say you're a guy with elephantitis, which is probably the grossest thing. I'm sorry to people with it, but
Explain to the
it's
audience
kinda
what
gross.
elephantitis is.
It's like a buildup of like fucking fat, or it's just like this like disgusting like weight tumor that just like
where
anywhere it can be on your fucking leg.
You know what, Corey? You got a lot of disgusting weight
Yeah, but
tumors
hold on.
yourself.
Let
all
me
right?
say,
asshole.
It's
I
just.
always
it's
thought it had
how
to do
I
with
am.
your testicles.
No. Let's make an example that you have elephantitis on your
Elephantitis
leg.
doesn't have,
Right?
it doesn't revolve all around your balls.
Okay,
You
you're
have
right.
it
For this
anywhere,
example, you have it
yeah.
on your right leg. Okay,
All right. They call it.
Now I'm curious.
They call it
No, it has to be.
elephantitis because it looks like you have a fucking like elephant-sized limb on your body.
I don't know if that's right.
That's a very
No, it
biased, ignorant statement, but that's what I always
Like the official medical term is elephantitis, and that's not a joke. That's kind of
But
mean.
here, this is what I mean. What if you were the guy with you thought you had the worst elephantitis, and then you found out some guy in
That's
fucking
bigger
some guy in Indonesia has the worst elephantitis.
Look, this is what I was. This is the picture I've always had in my head since like a childhood.
Yeah.
That guy.
I mean, that can. You can get it
All right,
anywhere.
so what Jeff showed us is elephantitis balls, and you can see that he searched that. The medical term is T. bugius maximus. And there's this
Wait.
guy kind of squatting over with huge ass balls.
All right, let me do a better. Let me do a better search.
That sounds like
I
a
didn't
way
even
of
search the
teabagging
balls
somebody,
part,
like a
but it
Jeff,
came-
look up the Elephant Man. Look him up.
Oh yeah, is that John Merrick? Is that was his name? John Merrick, Elephant Man.
Was he your brother? Why do you have his
not.
So anyway,
I am a man. That guy.
I have, if you have elephantitis, it's
Oh my
horrible.
God.
And
Elephant Man is a great movie.
And that's horrible for people who have it.
Check
but to
it-
me, I don't like
Check
it.
this out. Check out that woman.
Yeah, see?
Bingo.
She's
But-
elephantitis of the leg.
Honestly, if somebody saw that,
She
they
has
would probably.
elephantitis of the fucking body. Bitch look like Nicki Minaj.
That's another sign. That's
Oh,
a-
She does.
Are you a little bit horny with that?
Little bit.
She's got a huge.
It's not. That is actually not that bad.
Yeah, she's got a massive.
She's got like huge fucking calves, but she's
But
also
Corey, I
got
thought you
some
were into
big ass.
gigantism.
That's not really.
Okay, so here's the other question.
She doesn't have this
Yeah.
fucking malformation of meat hanging on
true.
the side of her face.
Do you ever see the porn of the like guys who love huge knees?
No.
What the hell is your problem, Niall? No. All right, so here's the other question.
Stamper's turn. Jesus.
You got the people that grow their nails out for Guinness, right?
Yeah.
But then you have the other people that grow their nails out because they just want to do it.
No.
So there's probably somebody out there with the longest hair in the world because they wanted the longest hair in the world.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that's doing it to get some sort of credit in a fucking.
In a magazine that no one cares about.
Those are usually like the people who do quick things that you
And
can do.
they're the only people that really.
Like eat the most ghost peppers or some shit like that. That's something like you would think you could do.
Because you have to like run in and sign up for that shit and prove it, right?
I remember when I was a kid.
Well-
I read
And they have the judges
You
where
need
they
a ju-
come out.
you need one of their judges to visually like.
That's a job.
You
That
need
is
an
a
official
job.
license.
Some dude comes out to fucking measure things, weigh things, watch you.
It's
do
a
all that
profound
shit.
job, and it's like a job that like it's a real job somebody would want.
Yeah.
Because if you were the guy,
I
who
wouldn't
would-
mind that job. You go around seeing freaks all day. That'd be fucking.
I
cool.
know. That's
If
what
there
I'm
was somebody
saying.
in our life that did that for a living, he would be infinitely fascinating.
He'd be a
He's like,
superstar.
dude, I just watched somebody
See
eat
what I
78
mean?
or maybe
Dude, I watched a guy carry a car with his testicles with
He
a
would
string
be
tied.
he would be a fucking endless story. Like
Guinness?
you'd be the endless.
No, I was thinking maybe you'd be
never-ending
like
story.
a total asshole. Like you'd go to a restaurant and you'd eat like 18 chicken wings.
So
and
you'd be
he'd
like,
No,
You'd be like, I saw an
I
African
actually
man
saw a
eat
guy
more
eat
beetles.
818 chicken wings.
Guinness had a
think that
TV
was
show
good?
once. You remember that?
I remember
remember that,
Ripley's
yeah.
Believe It or Not. Is that it? Guinness?
No,
maybe-
Guinness
I was
actually
thinking
had
about
their own-
Ripley's too.
There was both. I think they were both shows.
I used to watch Ripley's with my mom, and it fucking was like creepy because they used to have like the really the crazy action ones, and they used to have the freak shows.
There's a show on Discovery. I don't know if it's still
Stop
on.
calling
but
people
it's
freak
called,
shows, man.
It's a fetish term.
We're all freak shows.
It's
Is that actually a fetish term? Wait,
Yes.
this is actually kind of fascinating. That's a fetish term?
Yeah, freak shows.
So, like, people who are horny for, like, people that look kind of odd?
Yeah, if somebody
They call them freak shows.
Yeah, if somebody wants, it's like it's a derogatory term, like it's mean to them, but it's also like a sexual term. Like I want the freak show.
That's a sexual
I want to
term.
fuck the girl with two
I'm
heads.
disgusted by
That's
all of it.
amazing.
I'm sorry, Jeff. You
No,
were
I'm
saying-
actually fascinated
I
by
don't
this.
know. I don't know what I was saying.
So they call them, they actually call them freak shows.
Okay, Jeff. If somebody came to you and they're like,
Yeah.
Jeff, we want you to be a part of the Ripley's team. Sell us.
Jeff
on
would be
something
like,
important."
believe it or not, no.
No.
They'd be like, that was funny. Congratulations.
I think Ripley's Believe It or Not is not all freak shit though. It's like
No, it's just when those no, that's not what I mean. I mean like there was like a lot of action, like the most cars jumped and like the longest a guy was lit on fire and shit.
Well, no, but they also do shit like
Because they go all over the world.
they also do shit like this. This kid was shot in their bed.
You know what I used to like?
From a ricocheted bullet somewhere.
Sunday morning comics, they always had a little Ripley's Believe It or Not panel where there was like 4 or 5 little factoids.
I never saw that.
Corey, the longest that someone was lit on fire.
What?
And survived.
This is the
Was
Ripley's.
that funny to you now?
How's that funny?
Niall, are you drunk?
Longest that someone was lit on fire.
Was that one fucking like
Did they
Buddha
say-
priest who was praying to the gods?
Yeah, he died though. That doesn't count.
Yeah, but
That wasn't Ripley's, was it? I mean, I know it
No.
was fucked up and I know it happened.
no, but
This
I'm pretty sure
happened
he
a
was the
couple
longest.
times.
The Longest Without Crying was probably goes to that guy.
How do you can't have a? Are you?
Did he die? That monk was sitting Indian style like this with his hands together, and he didn't say a
You
fucking
get
thing.
third degree burns in
He
seconds.
was like praying. Okay, cut out the monk
Subject
part.
change.
Subject change.
Wait, was that really bad? I thought it was.
I was just talking about a person that was set on fire because I remember watching a race car guy who put on an outfit and caught himself on fire, and he went for like a long time because he was used to racing.
What's the most horrific thing?
Dominic
you've ever
Toretto's dad?
The most horrific thing I've ever seen?
Yes.
Like really fucked up that it's like something that's always kind of bothered me?
Yes.
Okay, I remember it as a kid. There used to be this website where you could doll up dead people and go on dates with them.
What?
I'm not even joking.
Wait, expand
All
on
right,
that.
you know what? I regret asking this.
No,
next
expand on
topic.
it. Corey, expand. No. Wait,
No,
Corey.
you can't just open up a can of worms and
Corey,
spill the
no,
worms
yeah,
everywhere.
you
with
opened the
worms
can
in
of
it.
worms.
No,
What are you talking
what are you
about?
talking? He asked me and I told.
You can't throw the can of worms out the window.
That
Corey,
was a can of worms. I was the worms.
Corey.
All over the place.
No, your story was the
Leaving
worms.
the birds to come and ask questions.
Corey, expand on that. I need to hear that.
Okay, I was like 13 or 14, and I was curious because it was like, do people fuck dead people? When I was little,
Google.
You thought
Google. Ask
Yeah.
Jeeves. Do people?
because I didn't. I went on
The last thing I was
Yahoo.
thinking about when I was 13 or 14 was, do people fuck dead people?
I was watching.
I was trying to get some honeycomb cereal and watch TV, man.
That's why your life's boring. I was looking.
My life is a thrill ride of roller coasters.
So I was on the computer and it was like this really weird site. It was like this really gothic site. And it had pictures of a bunch of dead people that had just died that you could pay tons of money to dress them up and go on dates with them. And they have specific places you could go on dates, and they showed them like sitting in chairs and stuff. And the actual thing was, I think there were more options where you could fuck them, but I didn't read too much into it because I was really afraid that somebody would see me on a page about dead people and fucking and going on dates with them. Being 14, I was a little startled.
You know what's weird? I understand, like, fucking dead people, but going on dates with them is weird to me.
Well, there was like a video. There was like a guy who was
You go
like,
and get some shepherd's pie with a dead person?
No, it was like
That's strange.
It was like a wholesome dad
Fucking 'em? Whatever.
presenting.
You know what? You know how many people in comments say, you know, I can relate to those sleepy cabin guys. I can relate to them.
I think this is like the word
And then
where it
Corey's
stops.
sitting here talking about fucking dead. You know, you're scaring everybody away.
You asked what was the most fucked up thing I ever saw.
I can go back to the relation though.
And
Like,
it's true. That was
Rotten.com was the worst thing I seen when I was younger.
Well, see, I saw Rotten,
There
but that
was
was just like.
ogrish.com too.
So wait. So
Oh, yeah.
and Ogrish was turned into Live Leak later on.
Yeah.
I guess,
Did it really?
Yeah. I guess like Rotten.com. Yeah, that was bad. But for something that could actually like physically confuse me was that.
I remember Rotten.com. I saw that when I was like probably 14.
I was about that
and I was
too.
like,
I
oh
was
my
really
god, this is so violent. But then there was a picture on there, and that was one of the first times I jerked off as well.
I gotta say,
Ooh.
there was a
So
weird,
there was a
You
little
were
bit of
destined.
both.
You had a prophecy. God had a plan for you, Stan.
those
adult
sites had a
section on that.
weird philosophy about them because they were against, I think, like animals dying and things like that. They just found this weird beauty in watching people die.
Yeah. Speaking of
You
that,
could also choose your category. You could have like fucking.
I went there a few
lobotomies.
times, but
It's
I don't like looking at that stuff.
like if I watch a guy die on a video, it bothers me less than if I watch a dog.
That's what
die
I'm
on a
saying.
video.
It's strange that most people feel that way.
Yeah.
Like you could watch a dude get his head sawed off all day. It's not saying that it's cool and it makes you
Like it still
fucking
makes you
sick,
kind of go,
but-
oh.
But if you watch the dog get
no, I
beheaded,
cannot do that.
I can't remember if there was like a ratings and a comment section
I
where
couldn't.
people could rate.
There
the
was.
picture.
There actually was. Yeah.
That was a great beheading video.
Yeah. It was like, oh, 10 out of 10.
2 thumbs up.
See the comic
Yeah,
below.
Why don't they
Coming
rate it
soon.
like torrents? They're like A3.
Yeah, it's like video,
Yeah,
video
video,
5, audio 2.
alright, yeah.
I can barely understand the gurgling.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't
Garbage.
speak Mexican cartel language.
I don't speak Arabic.
Yeah.
Now,
when
is that a Freudian slip?
What?
You don't speak Mexican cartel language?
That was a Freudian
No,
slip.
I said that on purpose.
Niall, what cartel thing did you see? What was the first thing that scarred you?
Dude, I like when I said that, I was thinking of this one where there's.
Oh yeah, hold on. Keep that, Jeff. You asked me what was the most fucked up thing I ever saw, and I told you with flying colors. Now you tell me what the most
Truthfully,
fucked up thing you
Corey,
ever
I
saw.
think he actually meant the most fucked up thing you ever saw in
jerked off to.
No, in life.
I probably was. That's what I meant, probably. But
I saw my. Okay. This kind of falls back into the firework
turn.
Oh, sorry.
There you
Go ahead.
go.
What do you think? I saw my friend. He stuck a cherry bomb inside of a bird's nest, and he blew up a bunch of birds. And I saw it. I
What?
witnessed it. I was a foot away
an
from
asshole.
it. And he dropped it in there while there was baby birds and mama birds, and it fucking exploded.
Are you
All over
serious?
the place. I got blood all over my fucking
And you're
yellow
gonna call
shirt.
him your friend, man? That is the most fucked up thing.
No, I stopped hanging out with him after that.
Oh my!
I was just kind of like, I was like, what? I was like, I cannot believe you fucking did that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have no shame. And he was like drunk because he was like a cool 14-year-old, so I left.
You know, even at my drunkest, I wouldn't kill animals, man. Those like those kids that pop fireworks.
Well,
at dogs' asses.
That was the most fucked up thing I ever saw in person.
Yeah.
Snapper, what's your opinion
So
on?
hold on. Jeff has to tell his thing.
Keep going.
No. I was in the most fucked up thing I mean, on the internet.
No, in person. Like fucked up. Like I told you mine. What was
Oh
the
no,
most
no.
fucked
Say
up
internet,
thing?
then in person.
Yeah, internet and then person.
Well, the internet was a video. Let's just say, which I to this day regret watching, but it involved. I think people have heard about these videos, but it involves a woman in stiletto heels and animals.
Oh, no!
God.
I saw that. I hate
Crush
that
Kitten.
shit.
I think
They're
that
called Crush Kitten.
you're right.
That's a video I refuse
They
to
caught that
watch.
woman
I
and they
wouldn't want-
sentenced her to
They
jail.
did. They sent her to jail, and they
Good.
sent the guy who was actually behind
They
that to
should
jail
have
too.
set them both on fire.
Yeah, no, they really should have. But the worst ones I've seen is, I think it was called the Dagestan Massacre, where it was a bunch of
Stop! No, seriously. Back to that.
Yeah.
I remember everyone telling me about that video, and this is like off the back of watching all this other shit. It's like, oh man, this is the most fucked up video ever. That was when I swore off everything because it might even been you, Jeff. It was like, man, there's this bitch, this Japanese bitch, that's going around pushing her heels through animals' eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way in fucking hell I'm even possibly watching this
I
shit.
couldn't-
I look this stuff up, but
I couldn't
somehow-
escape it. It was all because I was a Gaylord who was all over 4chan at the time. So I was.
I do that too.
Left and right. It was on every single post.
You know, your curiosity gets the best of
Exactly.
you when you're first going into the internet and you're like, you
It's true,
hear
and you
about
know,
these
you don't-
terrible videos. You're like, I guess I'll look it up, but.
Do you remember that
You don't
I'm
have
done
to
with
feel
that.
bad about going to 4chan. Truthfully, everyone's fucking gone to 4chan. It's not
Well,
a fucking.
I was an avid.
It's not a scarlet
You know,
letter.
I'm saying I was.
was.
I was an avid. You know,
I was too. But do you
I
remember?
was a new fact spewer. I was one of
yeah.
those
Do you
autistic-
remember those? Do you remember that kid who she threw like puppies into the river?
God, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
dude,
so he had a basket
Once
and she
they
just kept
post,
hucking 'em in.
once they post,
Once
Cat Crush,
it's
they
animal
fucking
cruelty,
post
once it's
hundreds
animal
of them.
cruelty, they go fucking.
There
nuts.
was a weird video.
Animal
of
cruelty is where they
A
go.
soldier with a puppy, and he
threw it
launched
into
the
a
puppy,
ravine, yeah.
and they're all laughing about it. And I was like, what the fuck?
I don't know how.
Oh, that's
I
so
don't know how you
sad.
can
I
live with
hate
yourself.
that.
What if your fucking parents saw that? Because I guarantee they
It was like
probably wouldn't
nothing to
approve
them. It
of
was just like they were throwing a bag or something.
Dude, yeah, the dude was like, they were standing at like essentially the Grand Canyon, and the guy was like, "Hey, check this out," and he threw this puppy into a fucking ravine.
I saw that. Yeah. Oh
And
god.
if I ever see animal cruelty,
Those guys should fucking
immediately
die.
turn it off.
Oh my god. Like
Even
Like the life out there, just
even
like,
practical
destroy
stuff.
their-
Even practical stuff, like people who are fucking like killing like fucking like pigs and cutting off chickens' heads. I won't watch that either.
Oh, that's
I don't
so
care
sad.
if it's how we get our.
That's
fucking meat.
degrade. That's
I
like a
hate that.
degrading caring about animals, though. So I'm
yeah.
kind of hypocritical. It's like dogs, you don't do it. Cats, you don't do it. But then like pigs, you're like, eh. But then fish.
Dude, pigs are smarter than
chickens-
dogs, though.
Well, no, but it's like what Patrice O'Neill said.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. If they don't have eyebrows, then it's a little difficult to care
That's
about.
true. That's true. If they don't have eyebrows, you're like they're
Or
less.
opposable
They're less relatable.
Or opposable
Because a fish
thumbs.
just kind of flops around like
Fuck
this.
fish.
with big,
Fuck fish,
stupid
dude.
eyes.
Fish have dead eyes. They're the most primitive.
Yeah, but if
creatures
somebody
alive.
was hucking fish into a ravine, you
I wouldn't care. I'd laugh. I'd be like, fucking idiots.
No,
can't even
I wouldn't
swim.
laugh.
Stupid idiots. There's no
If-
water down there.
If it's like
dumbass.
intentional cruelty, I won't like it. What, Snapper? What do you
I'll
think
tell
of?
you.
I feel like. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
One anecdote, our pal Sabrina / Sebtastic, I don't know if any of you guys, I don't know if she sent this to any of you guys, but she watches this series on YouTube of this guy who
That raises fucking ducks.
raises cute little ducklings. And
Yeah.
when you first start watching these videos, it's like a 100-part series. You're like, oh, cute. He built an incubator. He's gonna raise ducklings. And then it's slowly, the horror slowly starts to set in where some don't hatch, a lot don't hatch, but then a lot hatch that are just, they live for like an hour and they have like a leg sticking out of their head or something.
God, dude. And then there's
And
like
then-
that 240p quality of him like fucking throwing him against the wall.
Shit, yeah, then shit gets really dark. Where
Jesus,
dude. He's taking the mutant ones outside and starts chopping their heads off with an axe.
Dude, that's
So it's-
that's horrible. What the
it's-
fuck?
It's funny because
I mean,
the
it's the-
series.
it's-
Hold on,
No, yeah,
the
go ahead.
series
Sorry.
just goes from like cute G-rated territory to horror movie and back and forth. Like he got mad because there was a fox sneaking in and killing the ducks, So he set up a fox trap. He caught the fox. It died hanging from a tree. And he's walking over like with the zoom lens, looking into like its eye sockets filled with maggots. And then I don't know. This is a weird guy.
That makes me.
I just like the idea of like a family like cleaning some ducklings in the bathroom, and then just like these like fucking guys all in black masks, like in like some really low quality.
I'm sure he cares about the duckling, but when you raise like hundreds of animals, I guess you just kind of get.
But there's like no emotional connection to any of it. He's totally like in the business.
Oh, so people are being conned on the surface, like, oh, cute ducks, but he's seriously like, no, this is the way.
I don't even think he's presenting it as like, oh, check out the cute duckling show. He's just
being real.
Yeah, he's being real, but people think they're not gonna see what they're about to see.
Yeah,
they're not ready for it to get so real.
I don't want to see something like that. The idea that like you would eventually see it, and it's like animal, that kind of stuff could go on YouTube because it's like cutting off a chicken's head is technically like normal, which is fucked up. But then in places like Mexico, like it isn't like there's a lot of not being like. I have a friend Rob who lives in God, I want to say he lives in somewhere in like South America.
Yeah.
But he has chickens as pets, and they don't kill them. At least I don't think they do. He's not.
I know a lot of people that have chickens as pets.
Yeah, so the idea of that is fucked
they
up.
eat their eggs. They're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandfather. This is a famous story in my family. My grandfather had a duck as a pet, and one day he came home from school, and the thing was on the dinner table.
Oh my god!
Like his parents are just like,
you fucking idiot! You should have paid more attention.
I don't know if they even told him. I don't even know if they told him until
Did they
afterwards.
at least save
On
us
the
like
plus side?
Did they make
duck
like
is delicious.
I was just about to say
Did
that.
they make
Duck's
a
probably my
so
favorite
out of
meat.
its fucking beak?
I
or, like,
avoid duck and lamb stuff.
Duck is hard to eat and lamb
And
as well.
deer.
Just and deer just for like the whole emotional aspect.
Dude, duck is like the best meat
But it
ever.
tastes
It's
so
like
goddamn
Duck
good.
is good cooked a certain way. I don't know. There's like a certain
it tastes
What
so
about
good.
buffalo? Do you guys eat like buffalo burgers?
I have never eaten it, but
buffalo.
I've eaten buffalo wings.
I don't know. It's supposed to be healthier than a beef burger,
quote
but
unquote.
it tastes drier.
To me, it's more like
it's more
the same difference. Like when they say that brown eggs are supposed to be healthier for you, but they're
Yeah.
really just fucking eggs either way.
I think there's a
It doesn't
lower
fucking
fat
matter.
content to the meat, but I don't like the taste of the meat.
Yeah, but you can get beef with lower fat content too.
I don't know.
You can get like 80-20 beef. You can get like 90-10 beef. If you're worried about
what are those ratios? 90-10?
It's like 20% fat, 80% whatever, and then you can keep like
that one restaurant we go to a lot, the Brick House. They have buffalo burgers.
Are they shitty?
I don't know. I've never gotten one.
Stamper, what's your opinion on like bullfighting?
Bullfighting?
Yeah.
I'll give you another opinion right now. I was at a breakfast place this morning, and for the 9 millionth time, they're like, okay, so you want the thing? And truthfully, I had a really fucking good meal this morning, so check this out. They made this potato batter with onions in it, and then they poured it into a waffle iron, and they made a potato onion waffle, and they put over easy eggs on top of it, and sprinkled that shit with cheddar cheese. That shit was fucking delicious.
Nothing gets harmed there.
Where the hell was that?
That's at the train station next to my house. I was
that
like,
place.
what?
Oh, okay.
But then, like every other place, they're like, you want pork sausage or turkey sausage? I'm like, huh? I want sausage that's made out of pigs. I don't understand the
Like
turkey bacon thing.
Dude,
the
turkey bacon,
whatever.
all that shit kind of tastes similar, and it's turkey. It's lean.
It doesn't taste anything. Turkey bacon is an abomination. It shouldn't even exist.
I like turkey brats.
It's lean meat though. It's like
turkey brats.
It's better for you.
I actually like brats.
So
more
order your
than
eggs with turkey strips. Don't call it bacon.
I actually
don't call it bacon. I agree
like
with
brats more than I like hot dogs because I can't.
It's like a what's it called? It's a not a double negative, but a fucking.
I'm pretty sure turkey, or I'm pretty sure brats and like sausages and stuff are like wrapped in the intestines of pigs.
Yeah, and it's just a mix of fucking whatever. That's fine, but if you're gonna trick yourself, then don't eat it at all. Like, don't get. If you want bacon, then get bacon. If you don't eat bacon, then don't eat bacon. Don't trick yourself into getting something that.
Oh, bacon is so good. Stamper, the other night, me and Stamper went out into the city, and then in the morning, Stamper cooked me some bacon and eggs, and it was so fucking good.
Yeah?
It's just what I needed after that night out. Yeah.
Great.
Holy shit. I just
Then we
realized how
fucked
much I
each
like
other.
eating fucking pigs.
While he was finishing eating,
I love pork.
I do too.
Pork
is the best.
Bacon, pork
God,
chops,
pigs taste so good.
sausage links.
Apparently humans taste like pig. Like they taste like pork.
Actually,
Didn't they have that thing where
They had a
our
thing, they had a
organs
talk
are
with the-
interchangeable?
they had a talk with
for
a
the
cannibal,
most part.
like a cannibal, and they said it's
For
a
the most
lot
part.
like veal, where it's based on how you like work the body is how good it'll taste.
I'm sure where in the body, like where
we smell like pork.
Yeah.
Like when you cook us, it's like a sulfur pork.
Sulfur pork. Ooh.
I'd eat a human steak.
I would most definitely eat human. If I had the opportunity, I would
Especially with
totally eat.
somebody
I'd only eat human if I was stuck on a mountain and there was nothing else. Why would you eat human?
Truthfully, first I'd be like,
this guy had a life. He had a job. He had a wife.
I'd
he had
have
kids.
3 questions. I'd be like, how did he die?
AIDS.
Okay. Wouldn't eat him. No, but what did he do wrong?
He was a rapist and he had AIDS.
And the third question would be with my party of friends that I brought to this human restaurant, asking if they'd be down to eat some human.
Can
with
I
me.
say something about like the whole cannibalism? You know, in like movies, whenever you see a cannibal, they're always,
Cannibalism
like,
is such a harsh word.
Yeah, but whenever you see cannibals, like when you see a cannibal,
No, it's not.
Hold on.
Cannibal?
Hold on. Whenever you see a really classy people who know how to wine and dine and hold their pinky out properly, but then they're like, hey, I'm playing like New Vegas, and it's like you meet like these guys, and they're like talking about like because the quest is you're supposed to like turn them over to cannibals.
They're
again.
all sophisticated.
Yeah, everyone's very sophisticated, and it seems like anytime a cannibal is portrayed in something, he's very like conniving and quick.
I'll say the opposite of that. I'll say, all right, you know the movie Alive?
Yep.
And you know that story. Wait.
And then that's another thing too. Like when you see the other cannibals are like these fucking tribals.
Well, wait.
They weren't necessarily cannibals. They had to do it because they had to.
Isn't it?
You know the movie Alive?
Yeah.
No, I never
I don't
saw
know.
it. 'cause
I'm
it's
totally lost
fucking
my train of
gross.
thought because every shut can't
Alive.
shut the fuck up.
All right, so it's like the Alive with the Brazilian soccer team. Is
Yes.
Brazilian or
I don't know. The soccer team crashed on a fucking mountain. And every time I've heard about that story before watching the movie, and they were like, oh, you know, they had to eat the dead crew members. I had this picture in my head that I'm like, okay, it's a little disturbing, but how bad could it be? It's like they're probably like cooking meat, like human steaks over a fire. Or
Wait,
something.
are they having a fire? Because
No,
they crash in the mountains?
No, in the movie, if you watch the movie, it's really fucking
Is this
disturbing.
the one where they crash into Ice Mountain, right?
Yes.
And they have to ration off the wine and chocolate.
Yes, there's no food or
yeah,
I did see that movie.
But
they sit down on like the Andes or something like
the
that.
first guy's so hungry, he goes over to some dead dude, and he like rips open his pant leg.
He
and
pulls
just,
a little chunk out of his
little chunk of like thigh skin.
God.
And eats
Oh,
it.
God.
It just it makes it so much worse. It's
That's all like fat too.
Yeah.
But it's energy.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody was to prepare a human over there and I didn't see anything of it and then they hand it to me, it's like, oh, it's deer. I'd be like, oh, okay. And I would just think that. I would have the mindset that it's that.
Well, so here's the thing. It's like, so why can't you go on the opposite extreme? Like, you know how vegans never touch anything because they're worried about animal
has a face
suffering
on
and
it?
so forth and so on. But at the same time, if you're an omnivore, you don't give a shit what you eat. Why can't I give a fuck about eating anything that's alive? Just creatures in general, human beings included. We're all animals. Fuck it.
What if we had
Corey, if you died, I wouldn't let you go to waste. I would eat the shit out of you, and then I'd use your bones for a sweet art project with paper mache, macaroni, and glitter.
Do you know what we should do to Corey?
me?
What?
We should have human Corey sashimi, where we start eating him while he's still alive.
Spashimi.
Spashimi.
Can you at least put a stick in my mouth so I can like hide the screams?
Oh, well, so
I'll put an
he's
apple
going
in your
along
mouth
with
so
it.
I can roast you over one of those turny things. Like in
Put an apple in your mouth.
What do you think of those videos? In the DC sushi chefs, they're so adept at their job. They cut all the meat off a fish, but don't kill it, and they put the fish back in the tank.
In the tank, and he
That
swims
just
around
sinks
all
in.
lopsided.
around for about half an
And
hour
then they
without
just
any
sink
meat
to the
on it.
bottom with all this
Yeah.
fucking like fish blood floating out.
Wait, what? Truthfully, it's a little
Yeah.
You never
difficult
see
to watch.
that?
I'm
That
not
is
gonna lie.
horrible.
Well, you have to think if
I'm
you
sure
do
somebody
it
will
all
link to
day.
it.
Yeah, you do it
That
like.
is fucking
But
horrible.
you're eating this. He has the sushi on the plate, and the customer's eating it as the fish that had its meat cut off is still swimming around the tank.
And you're
Oh
sitting there
my
putting fish in
God,
your
yeah.
mouth and staring this fish in the eyes as he's swimming around in front of you. In a lopsided manner.
I will admit that's one fucked up thing I watch on
That
YouTube
is
a lot is
so
like these sashimi videos of like people are eating a live lobster and the lobster runs
Oh.
off the plate, or stuff like, or there's a frog. They put a fucking frog in a glass.
Oh no!
And
I've seen.
They pull out his beating heart.
I've seen the crab thing.
Oh yeah, and the frog is staring at you the whole
he's
time while
staring
you're
at-
eating
He just has this look
out of his
he has
body.
This look on his face. He's like,
Well,
What's
this is
happening to me?
This is my life now.
It's terrible.
God.
It's
And all the
terrible, but I
Japanese
gotta
guys
watch
are sitting around him, just like, oh, it's good. It's
Yeah. And everybody's laughing, eating this fucking thing's heart.
Oh, that's real.
And they're super psyched and happy, yeah. And this
Oh,
little frog
man.
is sitting with his belly split open, just like breathing at you. And you see his little thing.
You see his lungs go. Oh,
It's
my
horrendous. I can't stop watching
That
them,
is
though.
horrific.
It's
That's why-
fascinating.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Well, there's this.
wait, go
You're
on.
talking about frogs. I've been seeing videos of it a lot now. Screaming frogs, where you like tickle their backside and they go.
There's a particular frog that does that, and I hate it.
It's a genre of video.
Oh, you're talking about the Pac-Man frog?
Yeah.
What's it called? The Asian ornate frog or whatever the fuck it is.
I definitely think it's like the
I'm just picturing
that fucking the Pac-Man frog. Look up Pac-Man frog on YouTube and watch this little frog eat mice whole. It's insane.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The mice are as big as he is. Just do it. You've probably seen it before. If you have, if you haven't, it's gonna blow your fucking mind.
It's these things.
I haven't seen
They scream at you and they eat live creatures. That's all they do.
Do you ever watch
It's
that?
insane.
Do you ever watch like scorpions versus snakes and shit? Have you ever watched that shit?
You know, he already elaborated on it. Of course he did.
Do you know if you-
he used
if
to
you-
do
he
that.
talked
He used to
about
put them
fucking-
If you type
I
in,
told that story, didn't I?
if you go into YouTube and you type like one animal versus any other animal, they always have it.
One of the first websites I was really into was called like Bug Wars or something, where they'd have like a monster centipede versus like a scorpion or a giant horned beetle versus a
Spider.
A spider. I don't know. They had all these different types of bug wars. It was kind of barbaric, but they'd find the biggest, meanest bugs and put them in a little Thunderdome and have them fight.
Then they fucking shake up the Thunderdome to scare the bugs and get them riled up.
But
Fucking crazy.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I told that story when I was a kid. I did tell it. I'd put a spider in a little container with a bunch of ants.
Oh, that's
What happened?
I thought the spider would win, but the spider was the ants are attacking
just
on all
rip it up and
fronts.
just like pull it
And you
apart.
watched
It's
it all
just fucking
happen?
screaming.
Yeah. I'm just sitting in the backyard like a little psychopath with my Tupperware container full of bugs.
That is a little bit fucking crazy.
Yeah, I only did it like twice, but I was like,
Twice?
I just want to know what would happen.
Yeah, but did you not find out what happened the first time?
I didn't force them to fight.
The first
Hey,
time.
Jeff,
The first
what?
time.
Wait. Sorry, I'm on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
After the ants won, did you let them go?
Yes.
Are
no,
you
I didn't-
sure?
No, yeah, no, I didn't kill. I would never kill the victors. Of course, I let them go.
That said, I killed about 400 ants recently because I was cleaning the house because that's what I fucking do. And I opened, or not opened, but I lifted up a plastic bag and there's about 400 ants under it, and I squished every single one of those cunts.
Those little ants.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't be letting ants
I'm not letting them
get in.
They're really.
I'm trying my best.
They're
man.
really
And you know what, Niall? They're not cunts, man. They're just trying to get by with life, just like you
They're
are.
assholes.
They are, but they snuck into my house and they
Alright.
don't pay rent, Stamper.
What is your most hated insect?
Yo,
'Cause I have
maybe-
a few.
Maybe you left food on the floor and it was an open invitation.
It's called Chris O'Neill as a roommate. That's what it's called. But
mosquitoes.
There's stink bugs who somehow are so good at getting into your house. I have no idea.
What, those fucking orange like bugs?
No, they have like a diamond shell.
yeah,
back.
diamond shell. But Jeff, did you know that stink bugs were
Brown.
only introduced into the USA in
Yes.
1998
Yes, they're
on an Asian airliner?
They're not native, so
They're not native.
They're taking over.
Stink bugs never really bothered me. They just kind of slip in under the
Well,
radar.
thing
You
is,
see
I
one
don't
every
know
now and
how,
again.
I don't know how they get inside so well. They get into your house.
They're quite big, too.
More than any other bug I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And they're always just hanging out on your blinds or
Yes, they're
doing
always hanging
something.
out on a curtain or a ceiling or on a
And they're always
wall.
alone. They're just like
Yeah.
kind
And
of
they,
brooding.
and they really do live up to their name too. They stink like rotten bananas.
I've never caught any of that. I don't know why they're called stink bugs.
Oh no, they stink, dude.
June bugs.
No, only when you kill them they stink though. They don't kill when you. They don't stink when you don't kill them.
Do you know people who are much more likely to, like, they're very ruthless with killing bugs, but if they come across a ladybug, they're like, oh, I have to put it outside so it doesn't get hurt.
Only because it's pretty looking, but that
Yeah.
fucking bug has the same
Oh, yeah.
brain